we got an update here on a couple of Edmonton Oilers players as, of course, they've had some casual skates in town. Training camp will start formally next week, and we're going to dive right in here with the Oil Understood, presented by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, and now a proud partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel, Diesel Understood, along with Jay Milne. Hi, Jay.
Hello, Reid. How art thou?
Doing great. I'm Reid Wilkins, and we're going to bring him in right off the top here, host of the Oil Stream here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, my good buddy Tom Gazzola. Tom, how are you?
Hi, guys. Good afternoon. Nice to be part of the show right off the hop. Look at this.
I wanted to have some sort of breaking news, some sort of a air horn, we could break this in and really make it a entertaining announcement for you, Tommy.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Jay.
If you have an air horn in your office, just let her buck.
Hit the air horn. Let's do Oil Understood, brought to you by GCL Diesel, who are proud partners of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne and the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. Listen, just a little tidbit. I know that we've been suspecting that, Evander Kane, his injury issues might cause him to miss some time, and it sounds like that's going to be the case, at least out of the gates at training camp. Not really the big surprise here, but I've also been told that Darnell Nurse is dealing with an injury that's lingered on since the playoffs, and he too is expected to be on the shelf for the start of training camp. So Nurse and Kane, they'll probably be absent from the on-ice sessions when things get going in a week and a bit, or next week. And with Nurse, he's expected, or they're projecting that he's going to be joining the group and back and ready to go by later in training camp. And then Evander Kane, I kind of poked in pride of, do we know about surgeries? Is he doing it? Is he not doing it? And I was told that, well, we'll find out. But Kane and Nurse sounds like we'll start training camp on the shelf come next week when things get going. So the Nurse thing's, the bigger news, obviously.
Okay, so a couple things out of this is that we have seen Nurse on the ice at the casual skates,
correct,
like
yes,
you said. So that would lead me to believe, if we can make some, I think, fairly safe assumptions, that if he's taking part in these casual skates, this isn't something that's critical. This is the opportunity now maybe to rest it a little bit and just to make sure it's healed up for the start of the season, so it doesn't keep bothering him well into the season.
Yeah, that's kind of what that's what's been indicated to me is, give him that extra time to make sure he's as close to 100% as possible. And, guys, the preseason, which starts in 11 days for the Oilers, not really the focal point for a veteran who's been in the league for almost a decade. So they'll give him some extra time to make sure he's ready to go for the start of the regular season, it sounds like. And Reid, you and I have been at the rink. You were there both days. I was there on Monday watching Darnell. I didn't happen to notice anything particularly out of order with him. He seemed to be shooting the puck okay, but, it could be something that is a bit innocuous to the naked eye. So sounds like he's going to be on the shelf, and the expectation is he, alongside Evander Kane, going to miss some time here.
I guess this, without remembering the exact timing, this reminds me maybe with Nurse a little bit of Ekholm from last season.
Oh, yeah.
There was something, I think it was a hip, that appeared to be relatively minor, and there was a lot of, from Jay Woodcroft at the time, I believe we'll see him soon, and then we didn't see him till game 2 of the regular season. He didn't play in the 8-1 game. So
yeah, and they forced him into the lineup, it felt like, too, right? Remember that?
Because they lost the first game so badly.
Yeah.
that's a good point. So maybe there's a little bit of a parallel there. Just be cautious with Nurse now. Now, the whole situation around Kane is an interesting one, because we know what he went through last season. He wasn't healthy. He rarely, if ever, practiced. For the most part, he wasn't to me anywhere near the Evander Kane full potential in the postseason. And I know even people have said to me, they win the cup if Kane's healthy. We'll never know. But
right.
they again, if he's playing better, they're a better team. And if he's healthier, he's a better team. And then as this summer has gone on and then stuff's come out, and are they going to put him on? Like you suggested it there, I think, or what's going on with the potential surgery. I've sort of been almost waiting for when's and making some assumptions myself, I suppose, but almost waiting for that announcement. When are they going to announce Evander Kane has had X procedure or surgery and is therefore out X amount of time and therefore is on long-term injured reserve? But none of that has happened, anything officially from the team.
No, we haven't gotten any official word. And listen, the team, as we know, has buttoned down the leaks and made it more airtight, and kudos to them. But, news does pop out and you find out some things. But in this particular case, it's been kind of ambiguous. Like, we hear one report that he needs and will get, surgery. And then all of a sudden we hear it's, well, not really one surgery. It's actually two, and they could do them at the same time. It'll keep him on the shelf, IR, cap space savings. And then, a week later we're hearing, oh no, he's expected to be at training camp. So it's kind of been this back and forth seesaw thing. I don't know what to believe. Like, is this guy showing up? Well, he wasn't on the ice the two times they made the captain skates, informal skates, open to the media. And it's kind of left me just going, well, if he shows up, he shows up. If he's good to go, he's good to go. If not, well, clearly, he's dealing with injuries and kept him out of the Stanley Cup Finals. So it's kind of those ones where, when people ask what the heck's going on with Evander Kane, I usually just send them the shrug emoji, right? Because I think there's some deliberate kind of smoke and mirrors being put out there. And, one day you want to believe one report, but then you hear a conflicting report from another reliable source, and it's like, well, I don't know. And it's almost like that they're trying to throw curveballs on purpose.
So, Tommy, this is kind of, having Nurse with some sort of a setback, not entirely sure how serious it is, whether it's even going to affect anything going into, much more than into training camp. But this is, a hypothetical that Oilers fans would be dreading during the season, leading up to the season, is losing one of their staples on defense. And, I'm a glass half full guy. I'm optimistic that Darnell Nurse is going to have an improved year and move forward. But, that is something that is lurking in the back of many an Oiler fans' minds, is having an injury on the back end that could, really cripple this defense, which is strung out enough as it is. Yeah. How do you see something, given this, just a little bit of a scare per se, but does this maybe put some more pressure and say to the organization that this needs to be addressed, sooner than later, this lack of depth at defense?
Yeah. The short answer, yes, Jay. And then now all of a sudden, it is expected that they announce Travis Dermott PTO, now that kind of makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Because there's a left shot guy, and there's discussions about, well, he can play the right side and has before, but if they need to fill a spot during preseason games and at training camp, and they want to do Travis Dermott a favor as well to keep him in the National Hockey League, and if you kind of dig a little bit and you go, well, what the heck's going on? Why are they bringing in Dermott? Don't they need a right shot defenseman? This kind of makes it clearer, and it's like, oh, okay, well, Darnell Nurse is a little bit nicked up, and if he can't go, they've got this other guy, and he can suffice in the meantime. Now, when we get into the later weeks of training camp and the preseason games are dwindling, and if we get a situation like we did last year where we keep hearing, oh, you're going to see him soon, and we're not seeing him soon, that would be more concerning. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point if you're an Oilers fan, but it does harken back to that. I'm glad Reid pointed it out. So yes, it helps, highlight the fact that if there's one injury on the left side, all of a sudden it's like, well, what do you got there? Because I don't know if Ben Gleason is someone Oilers fans can look at with confidence and say, that's the guy that'll fill in for some time. So now they kind of, if and when they announce this Dermott PTO, it provides a little bit more clarity there.
Dermot. Are we saying Dermot or Dermot?
I don't know. I've said both in the last minute,
right.
so whatever. He'll tell us.
27 years of age. He played for the Erie Otters. You know who his coach and teammate?
Bob Stauffer.
No.
Oh, okay. Then Chris Knobloch.
He's from the Knobloch, McDavid, and I guess Connor Brown era as well, if you want to go there.
Yes.
And with Arizona last season. It's minus 14 on an Arizona team that wasn't terrible, by the way. So
they started the year very well. They were in a playoff spot.
They were very competitive. Yeah. Look for Utah to perhaps be an up-and-coming team this year.
With Tyler Yamamoto.
Has a PTO with the Utah Hockey Club. That is their name, right? The Utah HC for at least the first season with the diagonal Utah on the jerseys.
Brilliant marketing.
It's interesting with Kane. Again, the one side, he should have had surgery mid-season last year, been on IR, been healthy for the playoffs. I don't know if he wanted to do that or not. I've heard conflicting things about that as well. Yeah. I would think you want to play as much as possible, especially if you think you might have a chance to win a cup. And then it is so interesting. The Oilers fans this year who are actively cheering for him to be put on LTIR and then come back for the playoffs. Like do the Kucherov, I know Stone didn't do it for a full year. Again, I don't know if that's going to happen. I just find it interesting being out there in oil country. Why don't they put Kane on LTIR and go sign somebody else, and then you haven't even... I guess we'll see. But the other thing about that is, you got to be careful with LTIR. It's not a get-out-of-jail-free card. That's how it's been described to me. Now, because the Oilers are close to the cap, it would give them some flexibility. If it's not a year-long, if it's not an 8-month injury or a 6-month injury, you have to also tell the player, hey, you're not playing this year. Like it's a 4-month recovery process, and then we're going to quote-unquote hide you. I can't imagine that that's an easy conversation given how competitive and hungry these guys are.
Yeah. I'll start with having a healthy, engaged Evander Kane makes any team much better. When he's dialed in and good to go and he's not plagued by injury issues, he's an impact player. Now, we've seen it on other teams, and I think, you've heard some things about his situation here where that's not always the case, and this and that would happen. And I think when he's healthy and dialed in, he's an excellent hockey player. When he's not, you get issues. And when he's nicked up like he has been the last few years, it's made it tougher. And then if and I'm not saying this is the case, but if it is the case, the team and the player aren't on the same page with the route going forward in terms of, do you want to get surgery? How long, or can you play? And the team has one idea, the player has another idea, and both kind of draw their line in the sand and won't budge. You end up with a standoff, and maybe that's where we're at, because this is it's so obscure and shrouded in mystery that you're like, nobody really knows what the hell's going on. And those who do aren't saying anything, or they're keeping it super close to their chest. So I don't know. I was oddly curious. I was hoping to see him on the ice with the rest of the group on Monday. It didn't happen. He wasn't there yesterday. So I don't know. That one's interesting, and obviously we'll track it and we'll try to poke and pry. But they're not really giving up much in terms of information when it comes to Evander Kane.
All right, Jay, you got anything else?
No, thanks, Tommy, for jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for working overtime, Tom.
Anytime.
I owe you Tim Hortons.
Oh, I love that. Say hi to Mike Benton for me, okay, boys?
Yes, I will. He's always fun to have on. Tom,
he's great.
See you soon. That's Tom Gazzola from the Oil Stream here on Edmonton Sports Talk. That is the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel. So, a bit of Oilers news there. We don't want to blow it out of proportion, but it is on September 11th, a week away from camp. It is worth noting, Tom reporting that Kane and Nurse expected to start training camp on the shelf, so not be on the ice for training camp. The first on-ice session is a week from tomorrow, next Thursday. Tom saying Nurse has been on the ice for informal skates, continues to heal up a lingering injury from the playoffs. Projection is he'd be good to go later in camp. So that happens with players fairly regularly.
You wonder if that informal skate that you and all the media of Edmonton was at, starving for hockey, earlier this week was a bit of a test to say, hey, let's get back in a bit of a competitive nature here, see how it feels, and we'll assess from there. Maybe after that, it was deemed that it would be best to just stay off the skates and do some dry land or whatever. And as Tommy said, it's not important right now. And if we could even take what McDavid said from the offseason training last year to this year, you don't win the Stanley Cup in September.
Right.
You have to be ready to go at the start of the season. Yes, but maybe this is just an extra preventative step by the Oilers management.
Yeah. And I saw somebody post on Twitter in reply to Tom's tweet, a healthy Evander Kane is a dangerous Evander Kane. And he never really was that last season. I mean, you always could tell. Even if we didn't know there was something going on, if you hadn't watched Oilers hockey for a year and put the TV on and didn't know, and you might think that doesn't seem like Kane, and obviously in the playoffs, didn't play every game and all that kind of stuff. So to me, that's certainly a storyline. How healthy? He wasn't in the lineup for Game 7, right? He wasn't playing. I can't remember if he played a game in the Cup final, but so to me, that's sort of the more what happens with this player. Is he on a training camp? Is there an announcement that he's having a surgery or a procedure or has had one? And then maybe there's LTIR. So anyway, a little bit there from the Oilers today. Nurse and Kane not expected to be on the ice at the start of training camp next week. We are off and running. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Here's the Coob with a sports update.
The Oilers rookie camp down at Rogers Place is going on today with some physical testing and medical testing before they head on the ice. The boys hit the ice in Penticton for the Young Stars Classic starting this Friday, and that'll go until the 16th. Former Oiler Taylor Yamamoto is headed to the Utah HC on a professional tryout. He played 59 games for the Kraken last year, notching 8 goals for 16 total points. Yanni Hakanpää has been signed to the Toronto Maple Leafs on a 1-year deal. The former Dallas Star has 288 career games in the big league, playing 64 games last year in Texas. The Maple Leafs have made another move, inviting former Habs captain Max Pacioretty to camp on a PTO. Pacioretty has 668 points in 902 games in his career. In the MLB, right now, it's the Jays up against the Mets. They find themselves down 2-1 at the top of the 9th. They still have some time to get back in this game. We'll be right back with the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your Edmonton Sports Talk update.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Lynyrd Skynyrd with like an angel band. And I'm in the crowd hammered drunk.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
At A&W, you can start the morning off right with a regular coffee and an egger of your choice for just $4.99. Bacon and egger or sausage and egger on a seeded bun or an English muffin? The choice is yours. But we know it'll be tasty either way. And to make matters even more delicious, this offer is available all day. But don't snooze on this deal. An egger and a regular coffee for only $4.99 is a limited time price. Available at participating A&W restaurants in Greater Edmonton.
Get ready, Edmonton. The moment you've been waiting for is here. It's time to celebrate the best of the best with the Esties as we honor everything from Edmonton Sports Talks' incredible first year. Join us on September 17th at Metro Cinema for an unforgettable night of excitement, laughter, and recognition. Tickets are just $10. Secure your spot by emailing Matt at edmontonsportstalk.com. And after the show, let's keep the party going at Hudson's White Ave for the official after party. Mark your calendar, grab your tickets, and get ready to celebrate the best moments of EST. It's the Esties, September 17th.
All right, hope you're having a great afternoon. Along with Jay Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins. Thanks a lot for checking out the program. We have some clips from G. Roy Simon, the interim GM of your Edmonton Elks, coming up. He spoke about an hour ago, a little over an hour ago, talked about Jarius Jackson, talked about the upcoming home and home against Winnipeg, so we'll dive into that as well. A little bit of talk about potential NHL expansion, oh my. And, of course, as Tom Gazzola just told you, Nurse and Kane not expected to be on the ice next week for the start of Oilers training camp, physicals and all that stuff a week from today, on ice a week from tomorrow. The rookies, the prospects are, they might even be in Penticton by now, but the Penticton Young Stars tournament, the Oilers play Vancouver Friday night at 8:30, Calgary Saturday at 8:30, and it closes off against the Jets Monday at noon. That almost annual Penticton tournament. They didn't have it a couple years during COVID, and there was another year it didn't have it. I went to that a few times. I'll talk a little bit about a second here, but I know you want to get to something.
Well, no, I mean, just in the Paris Jewelers inbox, announcing that Darnell Nurse will not be on the ice to start training camp. Oilers Ford comes in and says, here we go again. Now we'll have another full season of nursing, little Gino action there, nursing injury excuse for his poor play not living up to the contract. So many years of pain upcoming in Nurse contract hell. That comes, Mr. Bleach or Oilers Ford. I can't really say. And another one, Reid, Bison Mask Guy says, hey, Reid, what's going on with Luca Musenberger? Is he going to back to school or what's happening?
Yeah, as far as I know, he's still playing for the University of Vermont. He's got a year left of eligibility. I had his page up just to double check his stats here. Luca Musenberger was drafted by the Oilers. He's a German defenseman, left shot, turns 22 in late November, 90th overall in 2021. He had 3 points in 32 games last year in Hockey East, 5 in 28 the year before that, 3 in 32 as a freshman. So not a ton of offense there. I think they were probably hoping they might see a little bit more of that at the NCAA level. 6'3", about 190. I guess that's lanky as opposed to flat out big.
A lot of Pims.
A lot of Pims there. For college, yeah. 51 in 32 games. Yeah, that'd be a little higher. Mm-hmm. And I guess if you got an odd number, you got a 5 in there somewhere, though I don't think they can fight. But yeah, he's an NCAA player, so that's why you would not see him at on the rookie roster. Good?
Answered everything I needed to know.
Answered everything I needed to know. The Penticton tournament, now when did I start doing I guess I went in September of 2013. I can't remember how many times I went, but it was this same sort of format. You play Vancouver, Calgary, and the Jets. I think San Jose had a team one year I was there, but they didn't do a full round robin because of the 5 teams. But generally, it's been the 4 Western Canadian teams. It certainly took on a different tone after McDavid and Draisaitl. The year McDavid was there, and he only played 1 game. And on his first shift, I think it might have been Horvat was there. Some or was it Virtanen? Some young Vancouver prospect really hit him into the boards, and it was just like the Oilers fans that were there were so tense. What if he gets hurt before he ever? Why is he even playing? In hindsight, it seems kind of a little overboard with the wording. But I think he only played that 1 game. Draisaitl was excellent in that tournament in terms of his passing ability. If I were to only have watched, and I think I went to Penticton 5 times, I want to say. if I only watched the Penticton tournament and then you would have said to me, okay, from the games you saw over the years, who do you think the best player is going to be in the NHL? And again, if you hypothetically, I would have not known their draft status or their junior careers, I would have said Patrick Laine. He was awesome for the Jets the year he was at the tournament, like just absolutely deadly. Penticton's nice. Obviously, it's a beautiful city in a great spot. It was really smoky a couple of years we were there because there were fires nearby, which was unfortunate. It's one of those tournaments. How much do you put on it, right? Like, okay, really, however McDavid did in the rookie tournament, now 9 years later, okay, who cares? At the time, it's hype because he's wearing an Oilers jersey and he's actually going to be out there. But what we've seen is that the franchises who are in a worse position generally do better at these tournaments because they have higher draft picks and better prospects coming in. So the Oilers haven't been as successful in this tournament recently because they don't have, the draft. Well, they don't have any first rounders, right? Except for O'Reilly, who they got this year. So,
did the Canucks always host a portion of their training camp there as well? Following that, I don't think so. They are hosting it from the 19th to the 22nd for the Canucks.
The whole team?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't remember hearing about that before. But they're actually, the NHL players are going to be there for a couple days?
That's what I'm seeing here at the South Okanagan Event Center.
That's what it's called. That is, for a Junior A rink, that's an incredible rink.
Is it now?
It's almost a WHL caliber rink. Maybe not quite big enough, and they actually have kind of boxes, like suites to watch the game from. That is a nice rink compared to the Junior A rinks I was often in Bonnyville and Lloydminster when I was covering AJHL games. It's night and day.
It's presented by Lululemon, is the Vancouver Canucks training camp.
They have a presenting sponsor for training camp.
They do.
Wow.
Might not be a great time for the Vancouver Canucks to be presented by the Lululemon. Did you hear anything in recent days about Lululemon?
No, I didn't. What'd they do?
They're in a little bit of hot water. Apparently, they are looking to expand some of their Vancouver establishments, but they want government to lift or ease the regulations that allow for foreign workers.
Okay.
So as to say, not hire locals for their businesses.
Oh, I didn't hear this.
Yeah, it's not going over well, to say the least. But in good news, it was canceled. Paula Abdul was supposed to be there on September 28th.
In Penticton?
In Penticton at the South Okanagan Event Center.
That is quite a get for Penticton to get Paula Abdul. Straight up, now tell me, is it going to be you and me forever?
Oh, Reid, give it to me. And who can forget on November 9th, Blippy will be there.
I don't know who that is.
Me neither. Zach, why are you shaking your head?
I think I know who Blippy is. Blippy is some kids thing. It
very much
Blippy
so is.
Explores exciting things like trucks, zoos, animals, garbage trucks, space, basically anything for kids.
Okay.
That's fascinating.
Good to know.
All right. Anyway, so the rookie tournament, we'll keep an eye on it over the weekend. But like I said, it's not sort of a I want to see how Matt Savoie does. He's become one of the Oilers' top prospects since the trade from Buffalo. Local guy. And he was, now they didn't have full rosters, but he was taking some shifts with Draisaitl during the casual skates.
That would be the guy to watch for sure. And Reid, I just want to let you know this because this is also breaking news. Kamloops J in the Paris Jewelers inbox. Hey there, I'll be at the Young Stars tournament this weekend in Penticton. I'll report any major surprises for you guys.
Oh, sure.
I was there when McDavid was creamed by Virtanen.
It was Virtanen. Okay, I said Horvat first. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Virtanen.
I went to the morning practice and found out he wasn't playing again, so sold the rest of my tickets.
Yeah, he only played the first game, so I do remember that correctly. Yes,
Kamloops J is on the ground, boots on the ground from Penticton, reporting live for the Reid Wilkins show.
I do think Kamloops J, I'm pretty sure it was McDavid's first shift 50 seconds into the game or something like that. And he finished the game. He was fine. It was a hard hit. I will give you some names to keep an eye on. I'd say Savoie. I would say maybe Carl Berglund to some extent. He's a big guy, was in the ECHL last year. I'm just looking over the roster Petrov is an Oilers draft pick from 2021. I mean, you're kind of getting to the point there where you hope you see something from him. A later round pick. Gruby is interesting. He went to Bakersfield last year. He's a former Rebel, so Mooner knows a lot about him.
Sure, yeah.
Hard-working guy. Sam O'Reilly is this year's first-round pick, 32nd overall. They did trade up to get him, so there might be some potential. I think I thought he had 5 assists in the first 2 games of the year with London, so that's pretty good. Marc Lajoie on the back end. That's Serge's son. He's a camp invite out of the Oil Kings, and I think he's going to the Bears. Well, Bo Akey is another one. Bo Akey from Barrie. He's the second-round pick from 2023. There might be something there down the road. And then in net, Nathaniel Day is a draft pick from last year. Connor Unger. Yeah, interesting guy. From, what was his trajectory? WHL to Brock, right?
Yes.
Could be something there, right? Somebody that you kind of find a diamond in the rough with Connor Unger. So just some names there I would throw out to maybe keep an eye on. Hope I didn't get any information wrong. Now I got to look up. No, I'll leave Connor Unger. I'll check for goofs later if I made a goof. On
yes, let's leave that for the report.
I thought he was in the dub and then he went to Brock. Somebody will tell me. We probably got people that watched him play. Anyway, so that's the camp coming up. So Kane and Nurse not expected to be on the ice for the start of training camp next week. We're gonna have. We were gonna spend more time talking about this, Jay, but we can get into a bit now. Bill Daly, in an interview, the deputy commissioner of the NHL, I'll just sort of paraphrase this. He was asked about expansion, and he said we kind of aren't going to do it right away. There's a ceiling for the number of teams that we could have, but we're not at that ceiling right now. So everybody, I'll throw you a couple cities that could maybe get NHL expansion teams, Jay, and then I'll hide for cover when you start throwing things around. Phoenix and Atlanta.
And it literally in the article that Reid and I are talking about, there's ample interest remains in places such as Houston and Kansas City, but there's already been talks with bringing back a team to Atlanta. And literal quote, not the first part. It says, even Arizona, and this is in quotes, is expected to get another team sometime. What are we talking about? Is this a joke?
No, it's not
Last
a joke.
I checked, it was not April 1st.
This is not a joke. Because the Arizona Coyotes franchise, and when did I interview Bettman? During the playoffs. I think I had directly an interview from him. Like the Coyotes, to summarize, are a dormant franchise. So he has them for 5 years if he can get Morella to get an arena or something like that.
If they're going to expand,
great?
they're going to, that is a debacle. If they're going to expand, they're going to expand. But here's the thing. Do some due diligence prior to expanding, prior to finding the group that's going to buy the team and become the new ownership group. Because I'll tell you, Atlanta, their first 5 years were a debacle. They poor draft record, hardly really any fan support. They didn't do much in the first 5 years, and then they lost interest in it and sold it to the Atlanta Spirit Group, who lost even more interest in this team. I mean, you look at Arizona, they didn't even have an arena to start and no plans of rebuilding. This was a basketball owner that owned an arena that wanted to have more use out of it. So he approached Bettman and said, hey, we could use a hockey team. Sure. If expansion is in the cards, due diligence, please, Mr. Bettman. Due diligence.
So I just double checked the wording on that. Yes, and it emerged that Utah was considered an expansion team, not a relocated Coyotes team. It effectively split the Coyotes franchise in half, and the owner of Utah acquired all the Coyotes players' contracts, hockey operations staff, and draft picks, and the Coyotes are dormant pending a permanent arena. This is kind of like the Ravens-Browns situation in the NFL from about 25 years ago. So
I think once is enough. If you screw it up once, you do not get a chance.
You don't think Atlanta should get a third team?
No.
That's what they could call themselves.
Third time.
The Atlanta third teams.
Yeah, like
if they go there. So
the Flashers, the Atlanta Flashers.
They have the Thrashers.
And the Flames. Yeah, the Flashers. There we go. Yes.
The logo suggestions abound for that. All right. So And
that leads us into Reid's top 3. No, just kidding.
Yeah, it does lead us into our off-topic topic for William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. Here is the off-topic topic. What small Alberta town should get an NHL team and why? What would the team be called? I hope you're ready to have some fun with this one. Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. In the nasty chat on YouTube. Email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com. So not a city. Not a city. Not a team that has a WHL team, and I'll even say not a team that has an AJHL team.
I got one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Go.
The Vegreville Eggs.
The Vegreville Eggs is a good one.
Yes.
For me, the Evansburg Grouches. I grew up in Evansburg, and they have a Grouch of the Year that's named every year, the Evansburg Grouches.
The Mundare Sausage Kings.
There you go. Oh, not just sausages, Sausage Kings. The Sausage Kings. So, what Alberta small town should get an NHL expansion team and why? What would the team be called? Don't write us a book, but you can give us a couple sentences, and obviously you'll get extra points for humor in this one. We will go to an actual NHL expansion city, Seattle, and we'll put the tentacles on the Kraken when we get you back to the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Here's Zach.
Darnell Nurse and Evander Kane are expected to miss the start of the Oilers training camp due to injury. Nurse has been a part of the informal skates, but is still recovering from some lingering issues he got during the playoffs. And the Oilers rookies are down at Rogers Place today for some physical and medical testing before they hit the ice during the Young Stars Classic starting this Friday. That goes until the 16th. Former Oiler Kailer Yamamoto is headed to the Utah HC on a professional tryout. He played 59 games for the Kraken last year, notching 8 goals for 16 total points. Yanni Hakanpää has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a 1-year deal. The former Dallas Star played 288 career games in the big leagues and played 64 in Texas last year. And in the MLB, Blue Jays are at the bottom of the 9th, down 6-1 against the New York Mets. Not looking good for them. And just after the break, Mike Benton from the Kraken Radio Network will be joining Reid and Jay here on the Reid Wilkins Show on Edmonton Sports Talk. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
All right. Thanks a lot for tuning in this afternoon. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Before we go to Seattle here, let's just go to the Paris Jewelers inbox or the nasty chat, Jay. Our off-topic topic for William Huff. What Alberta small town should get an NHL expansion team, and why, and what would the team be called?
Not getting as many explanations because it's somewhat explained in the name. I'll go to Corey B. In the Paris Jewelers inbox. The Balzac Squeezers. We're going to go to Alberta Shank, who said the St. Albert Tax Brackets. And
St. Albert's too big to get a team.
And to round things out, Jimmy Onishi with the Vulcan Force. I like that one.
The Vulcan Force. Wow, combining Star Trek and Star Wars.
I mean, why not? Best of both worlds. I'm sure they collided paths at some part.
Well, don't get me started on that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's different universes. All right.
Yes.
A lot of people are going to think I'm from a different universe for saying that. But so we have the Oilers news. Nurse and Kane, as Tom Gazzola broke off the top of the show, not expected to be on the ice at the start of a training camp. And we were having some fun discussion to some extent. Well, hypotheticals about where does the NHL go to next. The most recent place they went to, of course, was Seattle. And from the Kraken Radio Network, host of their broadcast, Mike Benton, is checking in. Mike, it's Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
Fellas, hey, I'm good. Can I take one crack here at the name your team from Alberta, if I will?
Yes. Bring it on.
I'm going to go with the Banff Vacationers.
Ooh, that's pretty good, actually.
Fancy. I like that.
Seriously, get a road trip in there in the middle of Christmas. I'll pitch my boss, pre-game, post-game show from Banff. If there's a playoff meeting, I might bring the golf clubs out there.
Right.
I'm just saying.
That's a really good idea. I'm glad you jumped in there.
Banff Vacationers.
I have found that too. Oftentimes, if you run into somebody, Germany, Australia, and it's like, name a Canadian city. It's like either Toronto, Montreal, or Banff, right? Because that's what they hear of. It's in the mountains, and that's where you go for vacation.
So, seriously, I mean, I told my wife over and over and over. I mean, we've done Victoria. We actually had our honeymoon out there, had our 5-year anniversary out there. She wants to do PEI. Banff is creeping up on the list here of the to-dos.
Well, you're really not that far away. I mean, you could spend a nice extended drive to get there. So that'd be pretty cool. Hey, we're going to go down a couple different paths for you here with expansion stuff. First of all, let's talk Kraken. I mean, they were in the playoffs a couple of seasons ago, upset Colorado, which was awesome. They've been a pretty solid team. And then I'm also wondering from a perspective of, look, the Seahawks are huge. The Mariners have been in baseball a long time. NCAA in college sports, as you know, is bigger in the States than it is in Canada, so you got to compete with all that. How have the Kraken sort of done in terms of carving their own niche there?
Well, they're making progress, and I think a two-part answer here to this is, one, they've already captured plenty of attention when you factor in the playoffs and the Winter Classic. The second part of this now is to capture more and more attention, being that this team has already shed their expansion skin, and they're getting into some pretty critical times now, being, they're fresh off a coaching change. They want to get right back here to the Stanley Cup playoffs. And that also, plus, there's a lot of uncertainty with the Seahawks and the Mike McDonald era off to, a winning start. But, I mean, the whole Legion of Boom, Pete Carroll stuff is gone. It's in the past. And not to mention the Mariners took an absolute nosedive, and I mean nosedive over the last couple of months here. So the door is wide open to capture attention tenfold here in a market like this. It's one of the biggest in the entire U.S. There's plenty of reach that this team is doing with its TV growth, its radio growth as well. So the pieces are lining up. But now the big question is, can they get off to a great start they need, and can they get back into the postseason? And certainly right now, based on the money that they've spent here in this last off season, the answer is they're trying. So now the waiting part comes to see where this start goes beginning on October 8th.
Yeah. Well, and there's some. I mean, you mentioned the offseason, and there's still some exciting young players right there, right? That you hope that they really pop now after being drafted 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I begin with Shane Wright, and a lot of the talk is that a starting job for him on opening night is his to lose. He looked incredible in the American Hockey League and in the Calder Cup playoffs in this last season. I get it. There's, of course, a jump that you go from the AHL to the NHL, but it was a different Shane Wright of what we saw this last year in the AHL as compared to the previous season when he was more of a role player on a Calder Cup final squad, not to mention when he was called up again late March, early April. He had a magnificent run, around like 4 goals in 6 games, and they weren't cheap goals either. He was going right to the front of the net. He had a nose to get right into the trenches and help, finish, help, the offense and, and what they've done to be able to, create based on their system. But he was a part of a missing piece that this team had in this last season, and that was net from presence. There's a lot of what we've seen from Shane Wright. Again, it's going to go back here to the thing of, do you think of him as a generational talent? No, the answer is no. But can he be a solid piece on a playoff contending team? We're seeing the pieces right there. And then you factor in what they could get maybe in 2 or 3 years from Berkeley Catton. I love that draft pick they had back in round 1. And, you never want to overassume, but there's a lot of similarities based on the type of game he plays, maybe the questions initially of how can he defend, but, is he on a bit of a smaller scale? Patrick Kane got those same questions back in 2006, 2007. We all saw what happened after that. That's not to assume he's going to be the next Patrick Kane here, but it's clear the Kraken wanted to extend their depth a little bit more in the center. You have to have a good spine to succeed in the playoffs. Special teams, of course, goaltending, of course, a big part of that. But it's clear they want to get better and get deeper at the center position. Berkeley Catton could be playing a similar role. Could he move even as well to the wing? That's a possibility. He's very, very flexible in that kind of area. And then you add a few more draft picks that they've had recently in round 2, round 3. Carson Rakoff had a dynamite season in the Ontario Hockey League. Jagger Firkus, who cleaned the table in the CHL this last season. He's pro eligible on top of that. So we're starting to see more building block pieces formulate here for this team that are finally going to be ready, or we're going to be asking, should they be moving on here? But we're going to see a lot of answers here pop up for questions that have been, kind of perking up a little bit, over the last recent 2 or 3 seasons. So we're definitely getting a pretty incredible time here as far as their youth. Not to mention also as well on the back end, Riker Evans, you throw him into that mix as well.
The Kraken, they just re-signed Adam Larsson, who Oilers fans are very familiar with and desperately wishing he was a part of their roster currently. They re-signed him to a 4-year, $21 million contract. Seattle has had a vacant captaincy since 2022. In your opinion, is Adam Larsson the perfect fit to be the Seattle Kraken captain moving forward?
Describe it here as a perfect fit. I can definitely say that he is going to be a candidate here and be thought of in this process when they try to identify someone who eventually takes this seat once again. It could easily happen this year, and I'll say this, they could easily be keeping this thing in the mothballs for another 2 or 3 years for someone who I would not be surprised takes this thing eventually in Matty Beniers. What they like about Adam Larsson, not just his durability, of course, his rock solid play as a shutdown guy on that blue line. Edmonton fans have seen this thing for 5 years, but I think the calming influence he has as well in this dressing room. And I think the way that he's able to complement a guy like Vince Dunn, who has been his defensive partner now for the last 2 years, virtually no change as well on that back end. I think the way that Larson brings a quiet confidence here to this team, to this dressing room, helped him earn a letter on his jersey for the first 3 seasons. Now comes the question of, where does Dan Bilesma, their new head coach, place the most value as a guy who is going to, be the ultimate presence as a leader here in this dressing room? Could it be someone who's more high energy? Could it be someone who's more of a laid back guy, but yet, shows more of his strength in a quiet persona as well physical play in between the glass? That's a question that's very much unanswered. If it's the latter, I would not be surprised here to see Larson ascend all the way to the top here for that kind of a role if we get there.
Mike Benton joining us, a radio host for the Seattle Kraken. So we're having some fun with expansion. We have our Alberta rural community question.
Yeah.
And I want to get your perspective on the potential of, and look, it's September 11th, so we're having fun with hypotheticals, but Bill Daly said there's a ceiling that we're not at. So the speculation is maybe 36. So whether it's Houston, Kansas City, Atlanta again, Phoenix again, you maybe would have either some other ideas. But some people thought they needed to stop at 21 or 26 or 30. Thankfully for you in the city of Seattle, they didn't, because that's the 32nd team.
I got a job now. Thank you.
Right. So from that perspective of being in the most recent team, do you think, oh, yeah, they should just keep adding, and likely American cities, or are you more like, man, oh, man, 32 is kind of a nice number? Do we need to explore these other cities, especially since they might be exploring cities that have already lost teams?
Well, I think from my perspective, when, I was more on the outside, working a minor league hockey job, working a WHL job as well, you first think to yourself, why would they want to keep adding and adding and adding? And do you have questions here of diluting the talent pool and everything? Well, I think we've seen, and especially in the last few years, that talent pool question hasn't really been that much of an issue. And I think we've very much seen over the last few years, there is one mission when you run a business, and it's to extend your business reach and bring in the cash. How much money did Vegas bring in with their expansion fee? How much dollars did Seattle help bring to the league with their expansion fee as well? I think you got your answer right there in that we're going to more and more teams eventually. I heard Bill Daly say they're not at that point yet. They're not in that spot right now, but you hear the whispers of Houston. You hear the whispers definitely of Atlanta. I know Quebec City is, of course, maintain their noise here on this thing. But I think more and more that when you see this play out here with the Kraken and what they've done to solidify their footing, Vegas as well, when we get to the new CBA, maybe TV rights deals, all of that, the time could eventually be there. I think just from my own opinion and perspective that we're going to get there. And eventually it could be someone, I think, in this southern region market again.
Right. Now, I can't help but bring this up, but I must, because I saw you posted something to Twitter yesterday, possibly on your supermarket ventures, or you posted a picture of some eggnog. And I'm an eggnog guy. Trust me. I couldn't quite get.
Jay, we are one and the same, my man.
Okay. All right. This is good, because I was going to say I couldn't quite tell if you were in shock, because there are people that are aghast and taken aback by how dare you put eggnog before Labor Day, or blah 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 blah. It's always eggnog season. Now, my question to you, now that I know you're a fellow noggy, is what is in your eggnog at from now till the holiday time in the Benton house?
Oh man, it varies. I think for me, if I'm sucking back something during the day, it's as plain as it gets. If we're getting a little more festive around the holidays, we got some friends around here. I don't mind a little bit of Kraken rum in that thing. We'll Tullamore Dew whiskey as well in that thing. You got to give it a little bit of little bit of a jab here, I think, to kind of take the edge off sometimes if you had a long work day, maybe a rough day as well. But I mean, whatever you want, man, you can't go wrong. I think all I can say is you come to the Benton household, I think the holidays are always on. Me, it's eggnog. My wife, ask her, Hallmark Channel is always on. It doesn't matter. January, March, April, August, December, whatever, 1 in 12 months out of the year, something's on here. Call me a sucker for eggnog, guilty as charged, but Jay, you and I are one and the same.
Me too, brother. Me too.
I'm glad you have bonded. Yes. Mike and I bonded a few years ago when he was on my other show, and now you guys have bonded as well. So this is pretty special.
Yeah, the Kraken and a little dash of cinnamon on top. I mean, it just gets me excited. It just makes me feel in the spirit of the festive spirit is overcome me.
Reid, I know that you've moved on here, but are we still going to be treated to your classic Instagram Wilkie posts?
Oh, yeah, I'll still do this all sometimes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You made my day. You made my day.
I've gone international to Seattle. Yes.
International Wilkie.
That's incredible. Hey, Mike, I love talking to you, and it's great to see you. For those on YouTube, now we have the video element as well, so that's pretty cool. But thanks for having some fun with us, and thanks for the update on the Kraken, and thanks for the Banff Vacationers suggestion as well for an Alberta expansion team.
Excuse me, I'm going to log off and book my plane tickets right now. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate you.
Mike Benton, awesome guest from the Kraken Radio Network, the host of their broadcast. And he makes the good point. If they can bring in the expansion fees...
Money.
He did mention, it's nice for the American guy to mention Quebec City. The two Canadians hosting the show didn't. That still floats around out there. So, hypothetical talk, but it is something that we may encounter down the road. The off-topic topic for William Huff: which Alberta small town should get an NHL team and why? What would the team be called? The name of the team might explain the why. We'll take a quick timeout. Zach will have a sports update. We'll recap the Oilers news from today, and we'll tell you what Elks interim GM G. Roy Simon had to say.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com.
Fuse Sausage makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Get your 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in store at 6736 99th Street, or use the code EST when shopping online at fusesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders over $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuse Sausage. You can't beat our meat.
Darnell, Nurse, and Evander Kane will be missing the start of Oilers training camp due to injury. Nurse has been battling some injuries since the playoffs, but was participating in the informal skates. Former Oiler Taylor Yamamoto is headed to the Utah HC on a professional tryout. He played 59 games for the Kraken last year, notching 8 goals for 16 total points. Yanni Hakanpää has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a 1-year deal. The former Dallas Star has played 288 games in the NHL, playing 64 games for the Stars last season. The Maple Leafs have also made another move, inviting former Habs captain Max Pacioretty on a PTO. Pacioretty has played 902 career games in the NHL, notching 666 total points. Another PTO is over in Colorado with Pierre-Edouard Bellemare getting invited to the Avs training camp. The former Av had 7 points in 40 appearances for the Kraken last year. And the Blue Jays have been swept in their series against the Mets after dropping today's game 6-2. They get back at it Friday against the Cardinals. And coming up here on the Reid Wilkins show, we'll hear some of what G. Simon had to say during his presser earlier today. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your Edmonton Sports Talk update.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining this afternoon. Good to have Mike Benton on from the Seattle Kraken radio booth. Awesome guy. He had some fun with us as well and talked about how the Kraken have grown in that market. We will have Giulio Caravatta from the BC Lions broadcast booth in a little bit. Drew Remenda is going to check in as well. And before we get to the G. Simon clips, the Elks interim GM answered some questions earlier today. Our off-topic topic it's a good one, I think.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I kind of said that St. Albert was too big, and they did used to have an AJHL team.
Yeah, they were the Saints forever.
But the St. Albert tax brackets, that was the logo could be like a bracket with a dollar sign in the middle.
Yeah, or quotes and or money flying away. Kind of reminiscent of the Saints. Didn't they have an angel flying or something like that?
Yes, the Saints had an angelic hockey player with a halo.
With wings.
With the wings.
Yeah. So now it would just be a dollar
St.
bill.
Albert Saints and it was Spruce Grove Saints. All right. And the St. Albert Steel were there for a while because didn't Fort Sask become St. Albert after St. Albert left for Spruce Grove? I was covering the league at that point. I should remember everything, but I don't.
I've got a couple that came in that
small Alberta towns that should get an NHL expansion team.
Yes. RC in Ladner says, Innisfail, Alberta. After one abysmal, and I believe he's doing this as a reporter voice.
Oh, good.
After one abysmal year as the Atlanta Flashers, they gleefully relocate to small town Alberta, Innis Failures.
So the name of the team would be the
Ers, yes.
And when you say it all together, Innis Failures.
McLovin, and he did explain this. He said the team name is Lacrete Climbers. Lacrete, if this is all right, I haven't checked this, is Ridge en français. So Ridge Climbers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like that. That took a little bit of work. Rip City Step was in earlier, and I saw this earlier as well, so maybe I'm missing something here, but Castor Raiders.
Oh, yes, that's a classic one.
Why? What like, is it why Raiders and Castor?
You're joking, right?
I am not.
Say it all together.
Castor Raider. Oh, my God.
Are you being serious?
See you guys. Reid's going to take the show here from here on out.
Go! Castor Raiders.
Jeez, I did not. Good job.
That'd be quite a road trip to Lacrete. It's up there by high level, right?
Lacrete is up north.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that one. I mean, obviously the Huberts ones are great, but that one is a little more like, hey, this is actually about the origin of the name.
I like that. And then Abutski was in with the Paddle Prairie Kayaks. Say that 5 times.
That'd be for the Paddle Prairie. Where is Paddle Prairie? Do you know?
Google it.
Paddle Prairie, Alberta is it's okay. It's a Métis settlement, also in northwestern Alberta, a little bit south of high level. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, I'm learning some geography as well. The vast north of our wonderful province. 780-218-9999. The off-topic topic for William Huff is small Alberta towns that should get an NHL expansion team, and what would they be called? We are coming to you live from the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them, jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today.
So, I don't mind being the butt of a joke, folks. It's okay. You got me. You got me to say Castor Raiders.
Well,
I get it.
I don't think the person was trying
No,
to get
I
you to
know,
be-
but that's just good. Good.
I just
love
thought
that.
in your long and varied life you would have heard that already.
And oddly enough, the people that did our catering for our wedding, which was in Irricana, Alberta,
another community I have to look
we're
up.
from Castor. Irricana is straight east of Airdrie, about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And the caterers were from Castor. So I've actually been to Castor a couple times. But yeah, got me. Hand up. That was good. The Evansburg Bergs in from Spency 5 Centsy.
Yeah, the Bergs. The
Well, I
Burgers.
mean, dude, does everybody know that that's where you grew up?
I don't know if everybody knows.
Well, now they do.
Some listeners would know. The
Yeah.
14 listeners who were listening to Inside Sports.
Don't say that. There was at least 16.
The Evansburg Grouches. I mean, and then the high school in Evansburg, which my dad was the principal of, was called Grand Trunk High School. It was not Evansburg High School. It was named after the railway that went through town, the Grand Trunk Railroad. So you could have a train-themed name for an NHL team in Evansburg. The Evansburg Locomotives.
Steam.
The Evansburg. Yeah, the Steam. That's a good one. There was a coal mine there at one point, like a long time ago, I think.
Zach, you got any that's come to mind?
I don't know. I was pondering on it a little bit, but I have family from Barhead. My dad grew up in Barhead and stuff like that around there. The Barhead Brews, the Barhead Brewskis, something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
The Vikings.
Somebody came in with that earlier. I think that was
That's
Jimmy
pretty good.
Onishi, actually. And
Glen-
if you are watching or listening on YouTube right now, hammer that thumbs up. The more times you thumb it up, the more people it puts in front of their eyes with this algorithm-y thing that's way above our heads. But I think it works. So if you are listening, hammer that thumbs up.
Glendon Pierogi Kings.
Love it. I love anything with kings.
Just add Kings to the end of it.
It's like I do this trick. Sometimes we'll be in a group of people and we'll be looking at a bird and hey, what kind of seagull is that? And if you throw common in front of any, it's the common white seagull, or that's the common sand seagull.
That's clever.
People really think you sound a lot smarter than you are by throwing common. Oh, that's the common northern blue jay. It's a blue jay, but when you say that, it does give off an air of confidence that you know what you're actually talking about.
That's impressive.
We have these pileated woodpeckers at our house, actually. Massive.
I don't know what that is.
It's a woodpecker that from the desk, it is literally this tall.
Pileated? I don't know what that means.
It's called a pileated. That's just the breed of it.
Well, that's okay.
Massive. It's not just a little, they look like a pterodactyl when they fly.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Okay. We are having fun with that. G. Roy Simon, his team, the Edmonton Elks, having a lot more fun lately as they have won 5 of their last 6. They are in a bye week, host Winnipeg next Saturday. But G. Roy took some questions today, and he commented on the reasons for the Elks turnaround.
The biggest thing is the players have confidence in themselves. I think the coaches are doing a great job of getting these guys ready to play each and every week. They're coming to games fresh, physically. They have a clear understanding of the game plan, and then with some of the things that happened in the past, they feel good about each and every week going into games, knowing we're prepared, and feel confident in the system.
You picked up on something that I picked up on, didn't you?
Well, I wrote down fresh and clear understanding of game plan. Yeah.
Thank you. That kind of is reminiscent of what Jarius Jackson said earlier this week on this very show when asked the question, what's the difference between a Chris Jones-led Double E team and a Jarius Jackson? And it was quite clear that was the case. And so maybe that was something that organizationally they both felt, because I get the sense that these are very close friends. Jarius Jackson and G. Roy Simon. I mean, they played together in BC for many a year. So interesting to hear him say that and maybe back up his head coach in what he had said earlier.
And again, not to beat a dead horse, but makes me kind of sad / makes me wonder, what was Chris Jones doing? How was there such a big disconnect between how his players Well, I guess just between him and the players, or how the players wanted to be treated, or how a football team is normally run, it just remains shocking to me.
Do you know when you go into a house, or say your house, for example, and I'm not saying this is what it's like, but let's say you go home to your house and you didn't clean it up for a couple days, you didn't tidy the house, and there's stuff here, there's stuff in the sink, there's all over your bed, there's clothes, and does that stress you out, or are you just like, oh, that's cool?
No, I would want to clean it up, yeah.
Think about going into a locker room where you don't know what's happening. You have no idea. Like, things aren't in order.
Right.
That is stressful. That takes your mind off of the focus at hand, which should be football.
And then it's 60
practice.
People who feel that way, not just one. Yeah.
Like, it is big. So interesting for G-Roy to say that, and backing up his head coach for sure.
And he also had this to say when asked about why that interim head coach, Jarius Jackson, has been able to get some wins here.
Yeah, I mean, Jarius is a guy that I've always had confidence in. Jarius is a guy that I've always had confidence in. I spent time in the huddle with him. He was my roommate for 6 years when we were here in BC. And he's a guy that I have the utmost confidence in. The one thing that people have to realize, this guy has been on a big stage his entire life. So he doesn't have the head coaching experience, but he's been in a leadership role his entire football life. Being the number one recruit in the whole country, United States, coming out of high school, going to the storied University of Notre Dame, being the starting quarterback there, winning a number of games and having success there, playing in the NFL, and then ultimately, being a Grey Cup winning championship quarterback in the CFL for a number of years. So, I know that, he's always prepared. He's very smart. He has a high football IQ. He has answers for anything that's going on. So he's a guy that I've had the utmost confidence in, and know that regardless of the history of him not being a head coach, I know he would be prepared and be a great leader for this organization.
Anything stand out for you there, Jay?
No, just the confidence. That's a general manager that is firm in his beliefs and knows that this team is now headed in the right direction. Can you imagine the relief? You could almost hear it in his voice, as opposed from when, they took over, from Chris Jones as a team. Him, Jarius Jackson took over. This seems like they kind of got their stuff together, and they're using each other to bounce things off. And G-Roy, as you can tell, is very, very involved with this team, which I like. G-Roy Simon was one of the top CFL players of all time. You want to lean on that fella as much as you can.
Well, and he said today that because of the size of the staff and maybe some financial challenges, I don't know if he put it exactly that way. I think that's me reading that part into it, but he helps with some kick returns, and he's around the dressing room and the players much more than a GM might be in other circumstances. So he's aware of the vibe and what's going on with Jackson and the players. Zach, let's skip ahead to clip 5 there, because we're a little tight for time here. There is a CFL trade deadline. It doesn't get the attention as trade deadlines do in a lot of other leagues. Be honest with you, I couldn't even find out when it was. I'll thank my old colleague Dave Campbell, because he heard me ask this question. It's October 2nd at 3 p.m. Edmonton time. But I thought, okay, I know it's not a big thing, but the Elks could be a team on October 2nd who are right there, who are barely in or almost in a playoff spot, and they want to keep pushing. So I said to G-Roy, does the recent success affect your approach going toward the trade deadline?
No, I think we're in good shape where we're at right now. There's always going to be change, but if you look at where I'm from and the people that I've been under, I'm from the Pittsburgh area. I've been under Wally Bueno. You don't make a lot of changes when you're having success. We want to find our own people. We want to develop our own people and stick with those people. And we feel good about where we're at right now. But there will be some changes here and there, but we're not really looking to trade for or trade anybody on our roster, just based on, where we're at.
When you asked that question, did you Did you honestly think that he would say that maybe they are looking to fine-tune something here or there, or were you satisfied and almost encouraged by the answer that he gave that, no, we're sticking with the status quo because, as Wally Buono would do, don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing?
I really didn't know what answer I was going to get, and I realized maybe that was a bit of a fishing question because it's the CFL trade deadline is not talked about as there are in other sports, but I mean, was it not 2005 when Edmonton traded for Troy Davis? Around the deadline at running back, and he became the number one back. Wasn't that the one where they were promised Moss in the offseason or something like that in another trade? I just wondered if he was going to say, I think we got a great team if we just had another lockdown halfback or something like that. Like I wondered if he said, I like our secondary, but I'd like more depth there. Or, I wondered if there might be something like that. Now, good for him, though. And look, he can go and make a deal if he wants. It's something there. But I do think good for him for basically saying, we got a group of players here that have won 5 of the last 6. I'm going to trust them and let them grow. Publicly, I think that's a good message to send. I really didn't know what he was going to say. I wasn't really expecting an answer, to be honest with you. I was surprised he said no right off the top, though. I was a little surprised he basically came out and said, no, I wouldn't look to make a deal.
And I'm racking my brain here to think if there is an area of, early on in the season, fingers would be pointed at that defensive secondary.
Sure.
100%, and rightfully so. But they've seemed to get, things together in the secondary. Certainly not linebackers. I mean, we have the 2 leading tacklers in the CFL on the same linebacking core. The defensive line, they're fairly consistent. I mean, they're not accumulating as many sacks as maybe you'd see, but they don't give up a lot of run yardage lately. The offensive line, heck, we haven't even talked about them. That's a win for the offensive line. The running backs,
you got 3.
You got 3 that every team would like. And the receivers, no, I can't see an area that maybe they lack some depth. Possibly offensive line. Maybe.
I mean, I'd always,
but nobody's trading for a decent offensive line.
And I'd always love a rush end. But I mean,
sure,
Matthew Betts came back and went to the team he was with.
There's only so many Cameron Wakes in the CFL that come through that are special, and they usually don't last long.
And we are going to go to the West Coast and discuss the BC Lions, who their stock. They've had some streaks like the Elks have had this season as well, but they appear to be on the rise lately. Zach first with the sports update.
Former Oiler Kaylor Yamamoto is headed to the Utah HC on a professional tryout. He played 59 games in a Kraken jersey last year, getting 16 points and 8 total goals. Yanni Hakanpää has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a 1-year deal. The former star has played 288 career games in the National Hockey League, suiting up for 64 of those last year with Dallas. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare was invited to the Colorado Avalanche's training camp as well. The former Av had 7 points in 40 total games for the Kraken last season. The Blue Jays have been swept in their series against the Mets after dropping today's game 6-2. They get back at it Friday against the Cardinals. And just after the break, we'll be talking some BC Lions here on the Reid Wilkins Show with Reid and Jay. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your EST update.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for print, design, and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of expertise, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. For advertising solutions that stand out, choose William Huff. Visit us at williamhuff.com.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Gallo.
Okay, week 15 in the CFL starts on Friday with Toronto visiting BC. Here's how the season has gone for the Lions. L1, W5, L5, and now W2. They're 7-6. They have 4 of their final 5 games at home, and they still have a couple bye weeks to come. Interesting team with a very, very interesting player. And I'm glad we have a very, very interesting radio analyst to discuss the BC Lions. It is Giulio Caravatta checking in. Giulio, you're on with Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good. We're just getting a bit of an echo there, so we'll try to just nail it. I think we got it now. Hey, good to see you. Thanks a lot for checking in.
No problem.
Let's just dive into this. I mean, and it's crazy this year, right? Because Winnipeg was terrible. Now they're good. Edmonton was obviously terrible. They still got some work to do, but they're on the rise. And then BC was awesome, and then it was like, wait a minute, and now they're good again. Let's start pre-Rourke though, because that to me that's a delineation in the season. Pre-Rourke, how do you sort of look at the up and then the little bit of down?
Yeah, well, I think overall, like, you know, the Western Division in the CFL, actually the whole league, it's very, very competitive this year, really. You know, when you talk about Edmonton, I was never convinced that their record was a reflection of the team. You know, when you lose 3 games in a row with walk-off field goals, you just go through a bad stretch. And I think the Lions early on, especially offensively, they were lights out, really. Vernon Adams was flying at a clip that we haven't seen here in a long time. But what ends up happening, I think they ended up going to Calgary, and that would have been at the end of July. And they didn't play very well offensively. They really missed out on some opportunities. And defensively, they started to slide a little bit. And then, you know, they went on the road 3 weeks in a row, and they were some tough games. They played Calgary, they played Edmonton, then they went to Winnipeg, and then had a bye week, and then then they had Winnipeg at home. So they went through a real tough stretch where they just didn't play very good football. And in this league, when you don't play all around good football, all 3 phases, you're not going to win. They were making mistakes. They were taking penalties. They were turning the ball over. They just weren't very efficient. And then Nathan getting here has made a difference. But I think the last couple of weeks, you're seeing more of an indication of the kind of team that they are. They played very, very well last couple of weeks, especially last week in Montreal. I thought they were really, really good. But I think it just speaks again to the quality of the division and the quality of the league. Like, this is going to be a real fun stretch for all of us who pay attention, because every single game that every team plays is going to really matter.
You know, Rourke, we know what he can do. And it appears to me he's settled back in over the last couple of games. Blue Bombers fans would probably be mad, though, because they would say, no, we shut him down his first game back. It wasn't rust. But how do you look at Rourke, and, you know, is he sort of now settling in and back to his former self?
Well, here's the thing, guys. You know, I think when Nathan signed here, everything happened so quickly. None of us had predicted that he was going to come back at this time. I mean, I thought maybe he was going to be here towards the end of September, maybe the beginning of October, because he was going to wait out the NFL season and see how things progressed and see if maybe he was going to, there was an injury and someone was going to sign him. But when he got here, I think the expectation from all of us, and me included, and I look back and thinking, what was I thinking? But I think we just thought he was just going to pick up where he left off. And, this league is too good. And the Bombers are a very, very good team. And they showed him that, there's still a lot of great defense in this league. And he slowly started to get himself back into, game shape. I don't want to say that in the sense that he was out of shape, but just playing at game speed. Now, he hadn't played in a game, a couple of exhibition games, some limited time, but it had been almost 2 years, really. He got hurt in August 2 years ago. He came back and played that playoff game, but he hasn't played very many games. So you feel like he's just getting more comfortable and more adapted to the league and the defenses. I asked him that last week. He made an interesting point that I said to him, have you noticed a difference in the defenses, a couple of years later? And he says, yeah. He goes, I have. I've noticed that, defenses are really trying to force you into being patient and rushing for and dropping a lot more defenders and making you be really patient. So he's now, I think, getting a little bit more comfortable. And last week was by far and away. I know people will look at his stat line and say 3 interceptions, but 2 of those interceptions were through the hands of receivers that popped up in the air. He threw 1 bad ball, but overall, I thought he was very, very efficient. And then William Stanback, the emergence of him, has really, really helped that offense.
Now, here in Edmonton, we've had our share of quarterback changes as well with Trey Ford and McLeod Bethel-Thompson. And obviously, as you're just mentioning, the change from Vernon Adams Jr., who was their starting QB, who came out guns a-blazing, who was clearly a leader for that offense going in and then gets injured. Now you have the emergence of Nathan Rourke. Can you speak to what you're seeing in that locker room as how that relationship is? Is it open and honest? Is it best man wins, or is it Nathan Rourke's job? VA, you're now the backup.
Yeah.
And as the former leader of that offense, how does the team handle that, and how are they looking at that?
That's a very, very good point, and it is something that I think everybody is watching. But I can honestly tell you, being around the team as much as I am, that in order for you to have success, when you have this kind of dynamic, you need to have 2 guys that are truly team guys. They're professional. Of course, they want to play, but they're putting team first. And I would imagine you guys in Edmonton, with what I see from McLeod Bethel-Thompson and Trey Ford, you've got to have that relationship. Because if you don't, you're going to have a Casey Printers and Dave Dickinson scenario where you're going to tear that team apart. So I don't want to speak for what's happening in Edmonton, but I know that here in BC that both Nathan and Vernon have been unbelievable. Vernon Adams has handled this. If you want to talk about team and professional and class and all the things that you want out of a leader, he is showing it. He has been nothing but supportive. He has been nothing but a positive influence. And of course, you're going to have that dynamic when Nathan first arrived, because everything happened so quickly that it took the team actually by surprise. So at the beginning, I think guys who didn't know Nathan and weren't familiar with him, sure, there was that initial dynamic, but I think that stuff has all been worked out. I think they really have exemplified team mentality and team first. And if you don't have it, it could really, really cause a big problem. And I truly believe that their relationship is why this team is starting to, turn the corner. They feel good about each other. They feel good about their team, and they know, like in Edmonton, that you are only as good as those 2 guys. You have something that the Lions have, is a lot of teams would kill for it, is to have 2 starting quarterbacks available. And when you have that kind of depth at the most important position, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. And, we did this earlier in the week on this very show. We looked at the remaining schedule for the Double E and said, okay, this is where we feel this is going to shake out. I'm sure you've been through this as well, but you have 3 home games upcoming. You have Toronto coming in, Hamilton coming in, Calgary coming here or coming to BC. Then you finish the season in Saskatchewan and at Montreal, 2 road games to finish. Currently, the BC Lions are 7-6. What do you expect their record to be over the next 5 games, and what do you see their record being at the end of the regular season?
Okay, that last game, Montreal game, is at home, so they play 4 of their next 5. 4 of their next 5 at home.
That's a goof up.
But to your point, I think this is something that we talk about the struggles, and you talk about, and I talked about it right at the beginning. Since I think the 3rd week of July, and I don't for dates, but I know they played 3 road games. Then they went on the road to Ottawa, then returned and played a road game, home game in Victoria, and then went all the way back to Montreal last week. So in essence, they have played 1 home game against Winnipeg at the beginning of August, and have been on the road almost for 2 months. So this stretch for them couldn't come at a better time playing at home. They have really, it's been a tough stretch for them as far as the road and all those kinds of things that go along with the travel, and especially going back and forth to the east. So as I look at it, really, if I'm and from obviously from a Lions perspective, they have to go at least 4-1 in that stretch.
At least
now that's asking a lot, but you're playing home, you should have the advantage. But none of those games are easy. None of the games that any of these teams are going to play down the stretch are easy because everybody's fighting for their life. So it's like you're playing Toronto. The Argonauts lost to Hamilton last week, or they lose. They lose last week, and now they got to come all the way out here. You're not going to tell me that they're not pissed off. That's a good team. They got good defense. Chad Kelly's, gonna take a little time to get himself back into, but that's a good football team. Where's the weak team in this whole thing? I know everyone would look at Hamilton, but Hamilton's got 3 wins now? They're not that far off of pushing Toronto if they can win a few games, right? So when you say that, it's I mean obviously from a Lions perspective that you'd say, oh yeah, they're gonna win all of them. Man, it's too tough to I would say to go out on a limb and say, oh, they're gonna win all of them. I think from their perspective, they know we've got to win at least 4 of those games to give ourselves a chance, because what they don't want to do is have to go to Winnipeg. Right? They don't want to have to go back there again. That's been their nemesis. I know eventually they're going to have to get over it, but they're gonna fight and claw like every other team to try to get home field advantage, because that's going to be so critical in the West, especially going out and playing in the weather and the elements.
Giulio, I want to ask you one more about Nathan Rourke, and thanks for being so generous with your time.
Oh no, anytime, buddy.
The quarterback is often the face of a team. The great quarterbacks are the face of their league.
Yeah.
And a Canadian quarterback potentially being the face of the league. And let's face it, he's 26. He could have a decade here of being one of the kings of the CFL. Can you tell us about Rourke's sort of mental makeup and personality to handle all that? I mean, he will have expectations and responsibilities beyond just throwing the football if he truly performs to his potential.
And here's the thing, guys, and I say this not because I'm on in Edmonton, but I think the league is going to be very fortunate to have not only a face, but faces of the league, and Trey Ford is in that conversation.
Yep.
I love the kid. I mean, I having been there when he started against the Lions, I know he got hurt. But to see the level of excitement that he brings to the fan base when he steps on the field, when he's on the field, there's a level of excitement that he brings to the game that for this league now to have Trey Ford and have Nathan Rourke, I think they're very, very lucky. Now, to your question about Nathan is a very, very, as I've gotten to know him, like he's just he's the consummate pro. He takes his job very, very seriously. The way that he prepares, the way that he goes about his business is very, very methodical. And, you know, it's been very successful for him. And as far as, are you asking kind of about what, like his media responsibility, that kind of stuff?
Well, yeah. Well, media, marketing, probably a shorter off season, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. So I think the one thing is that he's going to have to get used to the demands of his time. When you're a starting quarterback, when you're as you said, the face of a franchise, and in respect, you're going to now have the league that wants to market you as well. There comes responsibilities with that. And I think that he's getting much, much better at that. You know, I think, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but Nathan, what I've seen is he doesn't like to have the attention put on him. I think he realizes how much, you know, in football that you rely on your teammates. Your teammates need to be around you, need to be great in order for the quarterback to be great. And he recognizes that. And he wants to, when he talks, he wants to talk about, he doesn't like to talk about himself, and he wants to talk about the other people that make his job a lot easier at times. So, you know, as far as the league goes and having Nathan as the face, I think as it is right now, you know that there's a certain level of excitement when he goes to any town, and that's great for the league. People are always talking about it, but I'm really anxious to see how the league, you know, evolves especially with Trey and with Nathan emerging. Like, God, I can't even imagine what a Western final would be with Nathan Rourke and Trey Ford as the starting.
Yeah.
Would that be something else? So, but and I'm obviously speaking a little biased because I'm a Canadian, and both those guys had more talent than in their pinky fingers than I ever had. But it's just exciting for me to see it, how kind of all go full circle. And now we're back to where there's a couple Canadian kids that are leading the charge in this league.
BC and Edmonton have not played in the postseason since 2011. Elks fans would love to see you there, considering that they were 0-7 at one point. I think the Elks fans would take a playoff game against anybody. But yeah, two Canadian quarterbacks, the potential would be a lot of fun.
I'm thrilled too. By the way, I'd like to get this out that things have turned in Edmonton, and I say that as a fan of the league. But I'm such a huge G. Roy Simon fan and Jarius Jackson. I got to know those guys while they were here. I'm so happy that they're having success because I know how much they love and how hard they work at their craft. So congratulations to them.
Well said. Giulio, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Hopefully we are talking leading into a playoff game in about 2 months. Thanks so much for your time. Have a good broadcast on Friday.
Cheers. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, love talking to Giulio. I mean, of course, a former Canadian quarterback in the CFL as well. But I wanted to find out a little bit more about Rourke, and I know we saw him a couple of years ago, and then he goes to the NFL. And we should mention too, Rourke can also run. I mean, he can get away. He's maybe not as slick as Trey Ford, but he's a complete package back there as well. And the potential to be, I really believe that. I think we're starting to see him assert himself again now the last couple of games. I mean, how would you like that?
I don't see it.
You don't think he's going to be that
I don't
good?
see it as I know you said, and I know you feel that. I don't see it enough yet. I just don't see it yet. But
like to be a star or to be good,
the face
to be a
of the
winner?
CFL.
Oh, to be like the marquee guy.
The guy.
Right, okay.
That's what I mean.
Like how, Kolaris would have been up there the last few years. I mean, we had Ray here. Pringle would have been great.
But Canadian quarterback.
For a Canadian quarterback.
That would be the pinnacle of a young Canadian quarterback's dream is to be the face of the CFL. I need to see more from Nathan Rourke to crown him with that. But lots of time left to prove that. And I think the NFL experiment is done. Safe to say.
I don't think he would go back now. I think now
it's hard
now
to.
If you want to play, you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right. We are going to try something new next. It's going to be fun, but first, Zach with a sports update.
Good grab.
Darnell, Nurse, and Evander Kane will be missing the start of Oilers training camp due to injury. Nurse has been a part of the Oilers' informal skates, but is still recovering from some lingering issues that he got during the playoffs. Jani Hakanpää is signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a one-year deal. Hakanpää has played for the Ducks, Hurricanes, and most recently suited up last season for the Stars. Staying in the NHL, the Avalanche have invited Pierre-Edouard Bellemare to a professional tryout. The former Av played 40 games and potted 7 points for the Kraken last season. The Blue Jays have been swept in their series against the Mets after dropping today's game 6-2. They get back at it Friday against the Cardinals. And over in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever tip off against the Vegas Aces, while the Mystics and the Sky play later tonight as well. The Fever game goes at 5 o'clock. This sports update has been brought to you by Sit and Sleep. The wait is now over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with over 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months. Interest free. Join us on location Saturday to celebrate Sit and Sleep's grand opening in South Edmonton Common by the Planet Fitness. And coming up on the Reid Wilkins Show is the afternoon debate. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit GalloLLP.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups, from farm tractors to school buses to a big rig, from diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Appreciate you tuning in this afternoon. What is this, our 7th show?
I lost count after one.
Yeah, I'm starting to lose count. That's how long we've been doing it, which feels great. This is the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. We debuted on Edmonton Sports Talk last Tuesday after Labor Day, and it's been a blast, and it's going to continue to be a blast. And sometimes we're just going to say, do you want to try this? And Jay said that to me earlier today. So we are going to try something in about a minute or so. But one thing we're doing is our off-topic topic for William Huff, which is something I sort of brought over from Inside Sports because I would do that when I felt like it. We're going to do it every day here. So the off-topic topic is what small Alberta town should get an NHL expansion team and why, or what would the team name be?
Well, there's some interesting ones here. Let's just put that mildly. Uncle Jesse chimes in. He says the Caroline Golden Shins in honor of Chris Russell.
The golden, that's very creative. That is very creative.
That is really good.
Because he could have just had the Carolina Blockers.
Yeah. But the Golden Shins
the Golden
is nice.
Shins, that's a good one. Instead of the Golden Knights, the Golden Shins. Or the Bruised Shins.
Yeah, he took a lot of them to the shin.
The Purple Shins.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Dawson Nielsen was in the nasty chat. And actually, Lacrete has a team.
Not an NHL team.
No, they don't have a team, but they have a junior B team. He said, Lacrete just got a new building as well. I used to work at the old arena, one of the best junior B teams in Alberta. They finished second at provincials, and 5 kids went to WHL camps from the Lacrete Lumber Barons.
Oh, neat. That's awesome.
Neat. From the Scaro Sports Bar, shout out to those listening from the Scaro Sports Bar. That's just north of Lamont. Scaro.
No way.
It's a Ukrainian shrine in an area of Edmonton. Actually,
my mom's from Lamont.
My friend Jared Winkle got married at Scaro.
He was the quarterback, right?
He was Salmon.
He was the running back. Winkle
He's the running back. The Scaro Stranglers. Now, if there's a story behind this, we got to know about it. And VR Montenegro is coming in with quite the quip here. The Entwistle Dogs.
That's pretty good.
Playing off our Dear Morning Show partners, A&W, who brought back the Whistle Dogs after years of not being around. Now, this one here, it's not in Alberta, but I did do some back check, and it is legitimate. And it was, I don't know who sent it in because it didn't send in their handle, but the Arkansas School for the Deaf Leopards. That is their real name.
That's a real school.
And I looked back on it, and Def Leopard actually came to the school. And like gave their blessing for the name.
That's amazing.
No joke. Yeah.
The other name Def Leppard lead singer Drew Elliott had in mind for the band when he was in high school in the 70s was Blind Tiger, I believe. So he had some sort of thing about pairing a disability with an animal for some reason. But then originally they spelled Def Leppard correctly in the band name.
Like the Arkansas School for the
Arkansas School for the Deaf Leopards. Yeah. That's pretty cool. All right.
Wow.
This has been fun. I love when people participate and show their humor and show, some days we're going to pick apart the Oilers power play or the Elks secondary, but we can also just kind of laugh too.
Also, it was brought to our attention that yes, the Double E do have an area of concern, and Bill and Chris Savoie in the Paris Jewelers inbox highlighted that the kicking. They could use a Rene Paredes. I don't know if he's going to be available at the trade deadline.
No, he won't be. But this is the crazy thing. I remember tweeting after they lost to Hamilton, and I said they are below average or poor in every position group.
That's right.
I didn't go through the entire 46-man roster or whatever, but now I would say, well, they're at least average in everything. I guess we could debate Beatty/Faithful. Julian's distance is not a problem. You and I were debating the direction the other day when I got into my cheering for a punt single rant. Like in a perfect world, you'd get a rush end, right? Like when they had Montford and Peyton, they had 1-03 and 1-05 when they won. That type of guy. But yeah, they don't come
around that often.
That's like when the Oilers were bad and people would be like, they need to trade for a number one power play defenseman. Like it's like the Oilers wouldn't trade Bouchard now to a bad team. They'd be like, no, thanks. We're good.
And Rob does confirm that it is, in fact, episode 7. I know he always mentions that at the start of the show. So thank you for doing that. Keep track. The on-way outrage. Has anyone suggested the Vikings? Yes,
that's
has
a good one.
been. And if Calgary actually had an NHL team, they could call them the Flames.
Oh,
that comes in from Uncle Jesse. Shame
Uncle Jesse being cheeky.
Cheeky. Zach, what do we got? Okay, so this is sparked, and this is born from, obviously there was a debate that happened last night. A couple people from south of the border, I don't even know their names, but they were yattering on TV, and I've tuned in for a bit, but it didn't really make much sense to me. And it sparked a debate that we should debate. And I asked Reid, what about a weekly segment where you and I have Zach as the moderator, and we don't know what topic this is going to be, but we're gonna coin this as the afternoon debate. We had another name, but it got shot down, I think, by HR.
Yes,
I like
by Matthew.
The afternoon debate commences now. Zach,
and we don't know. We don't know what he's going to get us to debate.
No, every time I'll be coming with something new, but I'm glad to be the moderator for this debate. And you guys were probably shaking a little bit, thinking about what is this guy going to come up with?
Yes,
and
you terrify me in general.
Yes, I know.
It's like the least terrifying person in the office.
Yeah, he's a sweet. Well, he is a sweetheart.
Oh, thank you. Well, that won't get you any points in this debate. No brownie points. And it all comes down to this. So the debate for this week on Afternoon Debates is, does pineapple belong on pizza?
Who goes first?
I will go left to right. So Reid, you will commence your debate.
Well, first of all, I think we can. I take a little bit of exception with the word "does it belong on pizza." I mean, does it taste good on pizza? I would say yes. I would say pineapple absolutely is an acceptable and in some cases delicious pizza topping. It adds some moisture. It adds some sweetness. It can add some interesting texture depending on what you have it with. I have no objection to the ham and pineapple. Or there's a pizza that I've been having recently from a place in my neighborhood that has pineapple and bison pepperoni and a little bit of jalapeno honey, and it's delicious and it's spicy, but the pineapple fits in there quite nicely. So absolutely no problem with me having pineapple on pizza. And quite frankly, in general, if you like something of a culinary variety and you want to try it out and put it on your pizza, even if it's disgusting to others, I say go for it. But pineapple, I'm totally fine with.
All right, we've now heard from Reid. Jay, it's your turn for the debate.
Well, obviously, I'm appalled at your answer, Reid, that pineapple actually belongs on. Tell that to Tom Gazzola. Tell that to Gene Principe. Tell that to Matthew Iwanek, proud Italians of where pizza comes from. To throw a fruit on their sacred pie is blasphemous, and I'm actually outraged that you would actually take the stance that yes, it is belong, and not only belong, but it's enjoyed on pizzas. Leave this for fruit salad, leave this for brunches, leave this to be a topping on a nice poolside beverage, but you keep pizza out of my pineapple out of my pizzas, and that's my answer.
The great thing is we didn't know what the topic was, and you had no idea how I was going to answer. And then so you had to take the opposite side.
I think part of the debate is the beauty of it is that you have to take the contrarian side.
The guy who goes second might have to argue against how he actually feels.
And if Zach's going to continue to go left to right, it looks like I'm just going to have to argue with you.
You'll go first next time. How do you actually feel?
How do I actually feel? I love ham and pineapple, but that's it. And it's so funny. I ordered a pizza on the way home last night because my wife got home late. I came and I had a meeting after the show, right? So I called my wife as soon as I left. I said, hey, I'm on my way. What do you want me to grab? She's like, oh, I heard this place just off the highway outside of Sherwood Park has really good pizza.
Yeah.
So I called and I said, okay, can I order a deluxe? And they said, yeah. And the lady said, I should tell you what's on the deluxe. And I said, you should. You very much should. Because she proceeded to tell me that because on a deluxe, you expect pepperoni, sausage, black olives, green peppers, onions, that kind of stuff. And then she said there's shrimp and pineapple on it.
Oh, wow.
And I said, whoa, hold the shrimp, hold the pineapple. I do like a ham and pineapple pizza. A little bit of a tropical feel. I get it. But that's about it. That's about the extent of the pineapple. Hold the pineapple and shrimp on the deluxe pizza. That's out. I'm trying to say outrageous and absurd at the same time.
It's absurd.
It's absurd.
I'm surprised that's what they would put on a Supreme. Because to me, a Supreme is a combination of all the very traditional toppings. So if I were to order a Supreme, I would expect pepperoni, mushroom, green pepper, probably onion, and then maybe even red pepper or black olive, if I didn't say that already. I wouldn't expect pineapple and shrimp, certainly not shrimp on an extreme.
Who said tomatoes are fruit or veggies? Like, I said pineapple's a fruit.
Yes.
But you said fruit doesn't belong
tomatoes
on pizza.
Are fruits. Tomatoes are technically a fruit.
Yeah, that's like in a sauce, though. And hand up, I would never get a pizza with like extra tomatoes on it. Okay, so that's where that's coming from. Yes, okay, I get it.
Tomato would be on the Supreme as well, sliced tomatoes.
My goof up list. Boy, I tell you, it's going to be a full one. We're going to have to provide a full segment for this goof up. Yes, tomato is a fruit. That's a real catchy one, too.
This is the great thing. He's going to give us debate topics, and then we'll just wind up talking about completely different things.
Completely off-topic
different things.
But, Zach, in your opinion, as the moderator for this master debate, who do you think took the debate?
Well, I could see a little bit on both sides where, it adds a texture and it adds a little bit of different kick and flavor. And you brought up your own personal pizza that you like to enjoy in your neighborhood. And it does seem to, it is a different texture. It is a little bit different, but I found that a lot of people sometimes don't like pineapple on the pizza. And traditionally, in the traditional sense of pizza, if you're looking at it in that sense, then, as you said, it could be blasphemy. But we are in Western culture, and this is a westernized of meal.
Good point.
Everything here in Canada and even America, it's taken from the traditional sense and spun a little bit in the North American kind of terms. So because of that, because you tried to go a little bit deep into the roots of traditional pizza rather than the Western version that we have over here, I give Reid the win in this debate.
Well, that's huge.
Round of clicks for Reid.
Do I click for myself?
You have to click yourself.
By the way, if you would like to be involved with the afternoon debate segment on the show or anything else, you can email business@EdmontonSportsTalk.com. We are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown, personal injury law firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them at jameshbrown.com and book your private consultation today. Now, we do have Drew Remenda coming up. He covers the San Jose Sharks. The Oilers have a former Shark on their team now. We'll dive into that. I will have my top three based on a Hall of Fame goalie who took part in a beer league game, all in the final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Darnell, Nurse, and Evander Kane will be missing the start of Oilers training camp, both due to injury. Nurse has been a part of the Oilers' informal skates, but is still recovering from some lingering issues that he had during the playoffs. And over in Toronto, it was Yanni Hakanpää signing with the Leafs on a one-year deal. Hakanpää played for the Ducks, Hurricanes, and most recently suited up last season for the Stars. Staying in the NHL, the Avalanche have invited Pierre-Edouard Bellemare for a professional tryout. The former Av played 40 games and potted 7 points for the Kraken last year. The Blue Jays have been swept in their series against the Mets after dropping today's game 6-2. They get back at it Friday against the Cardinals. Right now in the Major League of Baseball, it's the Tigers up 6-0 against the Rockies at the top of the second, while the Phillies lead the Rays 2-0 as well. It's tied at zeros with the Braves and the Nationals, and just in a few minutes, the Royals start their game against the Yankees. This sports update has been brought to you by Wheeler's RV Storage, conveniently located 5 minutes east of St. Albert. Wheeler's RV is your safe and secure place to store your RV, boat, or whatever it is you want to store. Visit them at wheelersrvstorage.com to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months, get one free. Go to wheelersrvstorage.com today and get your storage needs taken care of. And coming up right now will be Reid and Jay on the Reid Wilkins Show, diving into Reid's top 3, and Drew Remenda will be on the way as well. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your Edmonton Sports Talk update.
You know, what's a great thing about this show is we can dink, we can dive, we can go this way, up, down, sideways, and the amount of pizza conversation right now is just making me so hungry. My mouth is watering as I'm reading all these brilliant combinations. Now, some are brilliant, some are left to be desired. I know you and I, given that we both have nut allergies, fun fact, mine are not as severe as yours. Mine is very limited to a hazelnut. But Charlie Dufault, fresh tomato, pineapple, and Nutella. I don't know about that.
Say that again.
Fresh tomato, pineapple, and Nutella.
Yeah, I couldn't eat that so I can't even imagine what that would taste like because of my nut allergy.
Yeah, it's just foreign to us.
What time? Really, what a nut tastes.
You and I just don't know.
Can you put
I don't know. Maybe you use it.
I don't even know how to say
I don't even know because I haven't grown up with it in my life. I've heard people say Nutella.
Pizzas?
Well, maybe you use it instead of tomato sauce. You know what I mean? That kind of like a dessert pizza-ish thing. Now, pineapple and feta, that comes in. That's come in a couple times right now, the pineapple and feta. And yes.
Feta on pizza.
If I'm having a nice Hawaiian, I like it well done. And I like there to be feta present. And a little bit charred. I like the char. And yes, Reid did say bison pepperoni. That was from one of our places that you've told me about, and more things to come on that. Big Uke, bacon with fresh tomato. I know a few friends that are big on the fresh tomato, like put it on after it's come out the oven.
Okay, well, in a bacon and tomato sandwich,
lovely,
would have a somewhat similar flavor.
Nash in Whitecourt, Sammy's in Entwistle. Maybe you've been there. Makes a mean hamburger, feta, banana pepper pizza. It's the best.
That actually sounds interesting.
That does sound good.
That does sound interesting.
I'm a sucker for hamburger. I love ground beef. Like a hamburger hash.
Okay.
Get some hamburger going, throw in a can of cream of mushroom soup, put that over some pasta.
But would you spread that on a pizza crust though and bake it?
No, I wouldn't do that.
He's got standards, everybody.
Yes. Smash a thumbs up for Reid winning the inaugural round of the afternoon debate.
Wait, finally my career has peaked, everybody.
And yes, I did get reminded very fastly and very aggressively that tomato is a fruit. But you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate the nasties keeping you on your toes. They'll let you know, like Ian says, it's all good. We all know the nasties will let you know when you went wrong. Keep the hard work going, sir.
We will not be perfect on the Reid Wilkins Show.
I can guarantee you one thing.
We'll try it. And we'll also, I'm sure you're learning, and if you listen to me on Inside Sports, things come up on the fly.
Yes.
And then we start trying to educate ourselves. I was reading about this earlier, that Roberto Luongo, Hall of Fame goaltender, you may have seen these on a variety of stories. I have it off the Toronto Sun, but he answered an ad for a goalie on Facebook. He responded to a goalie needed ad on Facebook, joined a beer league team, and helped them beat the 5-time defending league champions in a playoff game 4-2. So how about that? Roberto Luongo.
Can you imagine Roberto Luongo walking into that locker room?
So this is my top 3.
Love it.
Reid's top 3, as always, presented by Food Sausage, the best sausages you will ever eat, locally made and packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in-store, 6736 99th Street, and take advantage of their EST discount. 10% off your order by entering the online code EST or just mention Edmonton Sports Talk EST in store. Free delivery in Edmonton on orders over $100. As Food Sausage says, you can't beat our meat.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
Today I spoke with one of the owners of Food Sausage, Gavin.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to go there tomorrow because they have a special section that is heat and serve. So these are pre-cooked because, as you know, a sausage, you really have to cook them if it's a pork or whatever, right? But these are pre-cooked. You throw them in the microwave and you serve them. And they have quite a large selection of these kind of ready to eat. You just heat and serve. So guess what we're going to have on the show tomorrow, maybe Friday, maybe both days.
Well, we're going to snack?
We're going to eat on the show. We're going to show the people the power of food sausage.
That's awesome. Okay.
So come a little hungry. You know, I always go and I snack throughout the entire show. I'm a little bit of a snack.
Aren't there sausages at Otto on 95th?
They are.
Yeah, well, that's a fun place too. We should get them on the show. Who knows?
Sure.
All right. So here we go. My top 3 retired athletes I'd like to see in a beer league game. Now, beer league is generally a hockey term. I guess you could have beer league kind of baseball or slow pitch. So, but I'm using sort of beer league as a term for your pickup game or your casual
weekend warrior,
warrior type league.
Flag football, slow pitch.
I didn't want to just do hockey because it would be easy to Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Paul Coffey. Or
I have a feeling you're not just going to lay this one down the pipe.
No, this one's going to be kind of fun. So top 3 retired athletes I'd like to see in a beer league game. So here's my premise for the first one. You're maybe in a flag football league. So you probably play once a week in the summer. Maybe you play 8 or 10 weeks in a row, whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah, you needed a quarterback. Well, they got a quarterback pool. You're short your quarterback this week. So, don't worry. The league provides you a quarterback if you're missing a quarterback. And, all right, you're at your field. You're warming up. Oh, I don't recognize that car pulling up. I wonder if that's our quarterback. Oh, he looks pretty big. Oh, man, he looks pretty athletic. Is that Peyton Manning?
Oh, yes.
Now, the reason, not sure, I could have picked Tom Brady. I could have gone Edmonton-centric and gone Michael Riley or Warren Moon or whoever. But the thing with Manning, he's and him and Eli too, but they've done a good job with their post-football career personas. I mean, they do the Monday night Manning cast. They both do commercials. I think they've both done Saturday Night Live. Peyton's done it more than once. But Peyton specifically has that sort of outgoing, yet down to earth, yet still has that strut of a former athlete.
The competitive side is still there.
But not in a way where it drives you away.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you meet those people that are cocky to the point of like, I don't want to be around you. He's got just enough cockiness where it's like, well, he's earned it. And so I think it would be fun to have him strolling up because I think he'd be fun, but he'd probably expect you to catch the passes that he puts right on you. And he'd probably take a little bit of time in the warm-up and he'd identify who his number one receiver is going to be and make sure that guy or gal knows, okay, I know it's supposed to be equal here, but I'm going to be getting you so I think it'd be pretty fun. And he'd probably have some good yet appropriate trash talk. Like, I don't think he would really try to humiliate anybody, but he might.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, he'd probably have a burn or two from an opposing DB. So I'll say Peyton Manning as your flag football quarterback.
I'm reminded of Peyton Manning on Saturday Night Live for the United Way short, where he proceeded to, I think at one point he was drinking beer. He was playing with these United Way kids. And it was like a public service announcement for United Way, and he's just blasting them, yelling at them, run this, what are you, stupid? Stuff like that. So I think Peyton Manning would trash talk, and he'll be the best trash talker on the field. Because what are you going to say to Peyton Manning?
But I don't think he would be crass about it, I guess. He'd
probably
have some nice, Midwestern
It would be
insults.
very PG, but it would be very good.
Yes. So I'll take Peyton Manning. For number 2, so you got your slow pitch game.
Oh, yeah.
You got your company slow pitch team. Used to play slow pitch with the New Cap team in Lloydminster. We usually weren't very good. And, we're short a guy. Oh, don't worry. There's some guys that go around and play. So I will say one. I'll cheat a little bit here, and I will say one of these 3. Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, or Sammy Sosa. All, of course, associated with performance-enhancing substances, though I know with Sosa there's been a little more denial. Well, they've all sort of denied it, but maybe a little less certainty with him. But still, it's believed that in the late 90s they were, and in the early 2000s, they were the sort of marquee names of that. And certainly not the only guys, but the marquee names. So imagine those guys on your slow pitch team. First of all, perhaps helping your team, or if you actually got them out, imagine some of the trash talk you could direct at them.
I don't know if I'd want to, because they could still probably snap you in 2.
Well, I think Bonds would be the most unhinged of the 3. Could you imagine like Mark McGuire pops out in slow pitch? Oh, Mark, don't have the special stuff in your locker tonight, eh, buddy?
Do you think Mark McGuire could still, still swing the bat?
And then the curiosity of how far they could launch a softball.
Right.
Which is the larger ball, but they'd probably be using metal bats, which they didn't use in Major League Baseball. So, I remember in Vermilion, I covered a charity slow pitch game, and Bill Spaceman Lee was there, probably in his mid to late 50s, and he hit a home run to straightaway right field, and like nobody had seen a home run like that on that field in a slow pitch game.
Right.
Usually home runs in slow pitch are actually doubles with a 2-base error. A guy hits it well to the gap, and the defending team gets the ball, and then sloppily gets it back to the infield, and he scores all the way from home. Like, he crushed this ball, and it was one of those where he hit it, you heard it off the bat, and we're like, oh, he connected, and then you see it going, and you're thinking, oh my, that's a home run, and then you think it's going to crest, and then you realize it's still going up.
Oh, isn't that majestic?
And then it goes, and everybody's just going nuts, like, oh yeah, nice one, Bill. How'd it go, Spaceman? Even the team he hit the home run on is like, wow, what a hit! And I'll never forget, he's running around, and he's going around third base, and he's like, settle down, everybody. Did this for a living.
This should be expected.
Yeah. So anyway, somehow I got into Bill Spaceman Lee. Now my final one. I'm doing my top 3 retired athletes I'd like to see in a beer league game / competition for food sausage. So it's the corporate event, and this one's maybe a little more serious.
The office picnic, and a game breaks out.
What did we use to? We still have the thing in Edmonton, the corporate
challenge, right?
Yeah, corporate challenge, which I believe could be quite competitive for some. So you have a 4x100 relay team composed of Ben Johnson, Carl Lewis, Donovan Bailey, and Usain Bolt, respectively 62, 63, 56, and 38 years of age. Would you not love to see that?
Oh, they would still run.
I would think Ben Johnson, Carl Lewis perhaps wouldn't want to speak, and Bailey probably wouldn't want to speak to Lewis either. But nonetheless, and then to see how quickly they could actually move still at those ages. Well, I mean, Bolt's not that far removed from
Bolt's
dominance.
not that far removed. He could still dance for sure. I don't think Ben Johnson would like to see Carl Lewis.
No.
Because by all, accounts and from what has now been uncovered, it would appear as Carl Lewis was as guilty as any of them. That would be exciting. That would be awesome. That was, what a crazy story that was. The Ben Johnson came out of nowhere.
It was awful.
Mm-hmm. Do you know that Ben Johnson used to, obviously a paid advertisement for another company that he was working with? It was an energy drink. The energy drink name was Cheetah. Like cheetah, like a fast cheetah, like an animal. But the premise of the commercial was, hey, Ben, when you run, do you cheetah? And he says, absolutely. I cheetah all the time. Can you believe
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And this was after the scandal.
YouTube it. Yes,
Okay.
it was. It was after, and it was, it was after all this had kind of toned down, and it was almost revealed as though at that point most people were cheating. It's just they didn't get caught. Kind of somewhat like your Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, Sammy Sosa, that era of baseball.
Yeah.
Those weren't the only ones cheating. I'll tell you that point blank. They were the ones that got caught, and I think they were the ones that took it to the limit, you could say.
That's a good way to put it. So food sausage is my top three. That was fun. I don't know if we got anybody chatting, but I feel like I took it down paths you weren't expecting, which I was trying to do. So that's good.
Yeah. Caster 1990 comes in and says Peyton Manning trash talks like Strutty. You can't help but laugh.
That's awesome. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. We're going to catch up with my old buddy Drew Remenda when we get back to the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
Yanni Hakanpää has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a one-year deal. Hakanpää will be paid just under $1.5 million. Staying in the NHL, the Avalanche have invited Pierre-Edouard Bellemare to a professional tryout. The former Av played 40 games and plotted 7 points for the Kraken last season. The Blue Jays have been swept in their series against the Mets after dropping today's game 6-2. They get back at it Friday against the Cardinals. And staying in the world of baseball right now, it's the Tigers up against the Rockies, winning 6-1. And the Phillies and Rays at the bottom of the second, 2-1 in the Phillies' favor. Angels are up 1-0 against the Twins, while the Royals and the Yankees are tied at 0-0 at the bottom of the first. In the WNBA, the Las Vegas Aces are winning 20-18 at the end of the first quarter. And coming up right now, it is Drew Remenda joining Reid Wilkins and Jay Milne on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for print, design, and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of expertise, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. For advertising solutions that stand out, choose William Huff. Visit us at williamhuff.com.
Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com.
All right. So before we get to Drew Remenda, we'd be remiss if I didn't mention that a lot of people have said that the topic got them thinking of the episode of The Simpsons of Homer at the Bat,
Yes.
right? Where Wade Boggs, Jose Canseco, Roger Clemens, Ken Griffey Jr., Mattingly, cut that hair. Do you remember that episode? How iconic that was? And funny you mentioned beer league. My oldest daughter, Grace, bless her, she sent me a message through the break that said that a few of her classmates in grade 7 were talking about one day being old enough to join a beer league.
Amazing. That's
way to aspire. That is a high aspiration.
What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to play in a beer league.
I want a beer league.
You're a pretty good hockey player. Do you want to play in the NHL?
Nope.
Beer league's good enough.
No, that's for suckers. Give me the beer league. But my dad talks about it all the time.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. I'm sure Drew Remenda is smiling. Great to have my old buddy. I used to introduce Drew with his job title. I don't even know what he does anymore. He just comes on my show whenever I ask him. Drew, how are you doing?
Yeah. Wait a minute. I got terrible. Do I put this? First off, Reid, you're making me download something?
Yes.
God, man. How long have you known me to be technologically illiterate? So I'm trying to download. I said, he sends me a video link, Jay, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? So thank goodness I have sons that can help me out.
You look and sound fantastic. So somebody is in your corner there, Drew. So good on you.
Thank you very much. Second thing is, wow, that is an intense music hit when you guys come in. You guys are talking some serious stuff. And then you go to the beer league stuff.
Yeah.
And my job title is pretty soon just going to be, again, back to San Jose Sharks broadcaster. That's going to be the one I'm most proud of, and that's the one that, of course, pays me the most money.
Which is a good one to have, and we do want to talk about that job title. Thanks for coming on the show. You've been a great friend and supporter over the years, and you were one of the first people to reach out when all this stuff of me coming over to EST became public. So thanks for that. But I got to ask you, though, but did you just drive from Saskatoon to San Jose? What was that journey like? What's that drive like?
On the way home, it's easy because you're anxious to get home, right? So you go San Jose to Salt Lake, which is about 10 hours, and then Salt Lake to Saskatoon, which is 16 and a half, 17. I don't stop. I do it in 2 days.
Wow.
And it's great driving in the States on the interstate because you can go 85 miles an hour or 140 kilometers an hour in communist speed and be able to get home pretty quick. But unfortunately, what happens, and it's happened now 2 years in a row that I've been driving back and forth, that as soon as I cross the border into Alberta, and maybe they were Oiler fans and maybe they're just waiting for me. I don't know, that they've got something out for me, that I've had a speeding ticket every time once I cross the border, because you can't get used to just going now 110 kilometers an hour. You're, going 140. And on the way down, I stop in Great Falls. I stop in Salt Lake, and then I would just normally get to San Jose, but we have friends who just built a mansion in Truckee, which is up in the hills. It's gorgeous, so I did that for a stay and then yelled at the traffic from there on in.
I did not realize, because it's been a while since I've driven in the States. I mean, my buddy and I did a ballpark tour, but that was a long time ago. And I remember thinking, the speed limit when you convert it is about the. I didn't realize parts of the States you could go around 140.
It's 80 miles an hour, so you go 85, right? And they don't even care. I think they, being the highway patrol, they're like, yeah, see ya. Go ahead.
So, but how? I'm just wondering how, because I mean, you and I are both prairie guys, as Jay is, and Edmonton is now a fairly large city, but even once you get out past Spruce Grove, I used to do the drive Lloydminster to Edmonton all the time when I lived there. That once you get away from the city, there's not a lot of traffic. So how busy are some of these highways you were on? Yeah, the interstates.
Once from Saskatoon to Great Falls, it's great. Through Idaho, gets a little bit heavier. Once you hit Salt Lake, this is what the teams are going to have to get used to when they land at the airport and bust downtown, because we always land for some reason at 5 o'clock. They will not believe how much traffic is in Salt Lake. It is.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then you're okay for a while from Utah to parts of Idaho, but once you hit California, baby, it is bumper to bumper.
I think you legally take possession of ownership of a car when you're born in California, aren't you? It's like, you better have a car.
Exactly.
Drew, a lot of people probably wouldn't know this, but San Jose is situated right beside Santa Clara. And Santa Clara is home to the San Francisco 49ers. Is that the team? Is that the way that the team that everybody cheers for there? And are you now have you become a born again San Francisco 49ers supporter? And did you take in the Monday Nighter by chance?
I took it in Truckee at my friend's house on an 85-inch TV, which is amazing. But yeah, I've always been a Niner fan. I was a Houston Oilers fan back with Earl Campbell and Billy White Shoes Johnson, Dave Casper, and Dan Pastorini when I was in high school. When I got a little older, a friend of mine, Tim Tate, who is a golf pro, he was a Niner fan. And then when I moved here, like Joe Montana came to games. Roger Craig worked out in the same gym in the summers that we worked out in. Met Jerry Rice several times, Alex Smith. We met some really cool guys. And then, but Santa Clara is, like, I live in Santa Clara, and it's a stone's throw from where the Levi Stadium, from where SAP Pavilion is, or a stone's throw as long as you've got an arm. But everybody are Niner fans. It was split up because it was Raiders, which is just over in Oakland.
Right.
So people that don't know that the Bay Area is shaped like a U. Up at the top on the coast is San Francisco. Across the bay on the east is Oakland, and then down at the bottom of the horseshoe is San Jose, Santa Clara. So the Niners had always practiced in Santa Clara. That was their facility. When we 93, 94, when I was on the coaching staff of the Sharks, they invited us out after the season. That was the first year we made the playoffs, and we went into their facility. We wanted to get some ideas of how do you build the structure of a culture as far as bringing guys in while they look and go, wow. You walk into that facility, it was amazing. We met Dwight Clark. I can't remember the president of the club then, Carmen.
Oh, not DeBartolo.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Was it DeBartolo, or that was the other family?
No, DeBartolo was the owner. But anyway, we got we got into his office. His desk was overlooking the practice field.
Policy.
Right. And then on the floor of his elevated where his desk was, it was pigskin. It was a football. That was the floor. It's phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. So we realized right then that the NHL might not be up to where the NFL is.
Well, last Thursday I did the revenue for the four. You've heard me say this on my other show. It's not the big four; it's the gigantic one and the big three. Yeah. And like the NFL revenue is $22 billion, and the NBA was $12. Like, it's insane.
Now, Drew, something happened between the Oilers and the Sharks. I'm not sure if you heard while you were in Saskatoon, but there was a trade that went down, and lo and behold, we've ended up with a young fella by the name of Ty Emberson. He's a right-shot D-man. Now, obviously, you're very close and connected with that organization. Give the Oilers fans a glimpse into what they can expect from Ty Emberson.
First off, one of the nicest young men you will ever meet. Smile on his face. Every day comes in the room. He is a guy that our San Jose Sharks liked very much. He's a guy that when you look at his ability, I think it's been sidelined by injuries. He's physical. He's very smart on the ice. He understands his role, how he needs to play in order to be effective. He is tough. He went through a really tough injury last year and just kept trying to work his way back. Guys, you'll love him. He's an honest, hardworking, physical D-man who will bring that shift in and shift out. Many, many nights, Ty Emberson was the best defenseman on the San Jose Sharks. He gets back to pucks, knows where to put it. He'll have obviously more talent around him this year and this season. But overall, what you'll see with him is defensively away from the puck, how good he is. I've got nothing but all the time in the world for Ty Emberson. He's a wonderful young man, and he will be, I think, a very strong player for the Edmonton Oilers.
So, and I think the comparison, for me anyway, the comparison will be to Vinny Desharnais perhaps on that role as opposed to Cody Ceci, who he was traded for. But you speak very highly of Emberson, so why were the Sharks willing to part with him for Ceci? What do they see they're gaining in that deal?
Well, if you look at the Sharks where they are right now, you need veteran character guys around for Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, Shakir Mukmudulin, Henry Thrun. There's a lot of young players coming into the Sharks this year. So you have to have guys who are experienced NHLers, guys that can help them when it's game 50. And Jay and Reid, I know you guys have both seen it, where that young player looks and goes, how many games we got left to go? Because they don't quite understand after game 50, there's more. And so you need those guys. You need those guys that can help keep the league and the young players grounded, because the young players sometimes will be, you get frustrated because this is the best league in the world. Some of the young guys coming in, 18 and 22 years old, coming in. Mukmadulin's never just his first year in North America was last year with the Barracuda. You need guys around that can say, hey, it's okay. Been here. Let's work on this. Let's stay here. So that's why the Sharks have brought in Cody Ceci, why they brought in Tyler Toffoli, why they brought in Ty Dellandre, why they got Wallman, why they've been able to get some guys that are veteran character NHL guys with Barclay Goodrow. Forgive me for not saying Barclay. Bring those guys in to establish or help build a culture that you eventually need in being a successful team. When I was with Join Sportsnet and came to the Oilers, they weren't very good, and they took a lot of heat, but they had a lot of good character guys there, boy. They did. I'm thinking about like Matty Hendricks and Boyd Gordon, and they were able to have some veteran players around that helped the young guys. Now, when Leon and Connor got there weren't a lot, but they brought them in eventually, And that matters. And I remember Leon saying, that basically it was after the first couple of years when things were desperate. I remember Leon saying that we being the young guys, we haven't had anybody to look up to and help us find our way. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, I'm not quoting him. And and that was remedied. That was remedied with Edmonton, but the Sharks needed to do that right now. Bring some guys in that can show the way, and Cody Cece's one of those guys.
Did they improve enough and add enough of the savvy you're talking about to at least have some sort of flirtation with a playoff spot, though? I mean, they only won 19 games last year.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this team. I am very excited about these guys coming in because of those veteran guys, because of the young talent. Watch development camp. Tomorrow I'm going with the team to broadcast the rookie tournament in Los Angeles. I'm excited about this team. I'm very excited about what they can accomplish. Now, the league's hard, man. The league is tough, but I don't think you can go into any season thinking, we just want to be competitive. We just want to show up. We just want to have just give it our best shot. If you're not going in to try to win every game, if you're not going in to try to make the playoffs, then what are you here for? And in 93, 94, Reid and Jay, I was still coaching. We had lost 71 games the year before. We went 11, 71, and 2. There were 84 that year, the 2 neutral site games. And the Sharks brought in, Dean Lombardi did a great job bringing in a lot of guys. Igor Larionov, Sergei Makarov, Todd Ellick, Jeff Norton, Sean Cronin, Gaetan Duchesne, Jamie Baker, Bobby Airy. Guys, the veteran guys for the young guys like Artur Zerbe, Sandis Solzhenitsyn, Patty Falloon, Ray Whitney, they needed somebody to help them. And that year, we had the biggest point improvement from one season to the next, 58 points. It's never been done before. It's never been done again. And made the playoffs, beat Detroit in the first round. They finished 35 points ahead of us, came within a crossbar of beating Toronto in the second round when Toronto was in the Western Conference. So, yeah, I think they do have a shot to flirt with the playoffs. They should be thinking that anyway, don't you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you get it. You're right. It's a long season, but I think they got to start well. I mean, remember who was tied for last place after the Sharks beat the Oilers?
Yep.
But so I think it's,
got my friend
and talking about a season you covered when the Oilers broke the playoff drought in 16-17, 5-0, 7-1, right? Banked points, felt good about themselves, distanced themselves from the decade of darkness team. We're different, right? So, yeah, I think if San Jose can start well, then maybe they can be like, to me, I look at the Sharks, they got to be a pesky team, right? Like they're not going to blow anybody out like 9-2, probably. I know they have some talent coming up, but like be a pesky. Remember how Vegas got in the first year? And I know they went to the Stanley Cup final, but they were 7 games into the season and they were like, oh, James Neal got some big goals. Marc-Andre stole us a couple games. We're not a bunch of ragtag guys, right? They need belief, the word our buddy Rob always uses.
It's the right word because Todd McClellan talks about it too. Belief system is important, and the belief system within the guys that I believe in that player next to me that he's going to do the things that he needs to do in order for us to be effective, and I'm going to do the same thing because I don't want to let him down. Listen, how did the Florida Panthers play? Did they play this high-flying, hard, wow, we can't fire wagon hockey system? No. They're a hard forechecking team. Got a new coach in Ryan Warsofsky coming in, a couple new assistants, and Ryan wants to play an aggressive game. An aggressive game on the forecheck, aggressive game in tracking back and recovering, an aggressive game on every aspect. And that I think inspires players to understand, number one, how you need to play in order to be successful because good teams play that way. And two, like you said, the belief in being, if we're doing this and we get some early success, we're going to be a good team this year.
Drew, I'm glad you hopped on the show. Jay, I sort of hogged the mic, but Drew and I have talked like this on and off air. We just go. So thanks for sharing the details of your drive. About the link I sent you, as you know, and you saw me, as when I started doing Inside Sports and the Oilers games, even though I was a middle-aged man, I still had to develop confidence and grow into that role. And you always were a big supporter. And sometimes you would say, hey, I listened to your show last night. Like, I can't believe you got that guest, or how'd you get that guy? And I said, Drew, you just got to ask, or sometimes you just got to throw it out there. So with that video link, I thought, do I send Drew this and say, but you don't have to use it? And I was like, nope, just send it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like,
just link me right there.
Yeah, and I thought I'll just send it. And I thought that if he can't use it, he'll tell me or he'll ask. But I gotta establish that's the primary option. So that's why I was just like, Drew, here's the link. And see, it worked. You figured it out. You grew as a human being.
I was taking your name in vain the last 5 minutes, me trying to figure this friggin' thing out.
Now, next time we'll have you on, Drew. Maybe we'll be closer to the CFL playoffs, and we'll see how your Rough Riders are hanging in there.
Yeah, he loves talking Rough Riders.
Nothing to do with hockey. We'll just talk purely CFL.
Hey, they're 0-6-1 in their last 7, and I do the radio show back at home in with Jamie and I called the Green Zone. I have a saying. When the Riders lose in our radio show, everybody wins because it's the easiest show in the world to do.
Drew, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for making your initial appearance on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, hopefully the first of many. Yeah, enjoy the rookie camp. They're going to be a fun team to follow this year.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Great talking to you guys. Thanks, Reid. Love you.
That is Drew Remenda from the San Jose Sharks broadcast booth. Checking in via video in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them, jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Drew was always great with me, always very, very supportive. So, and I just love talking hockey and other stuff with him. But the running joke is, he's lives in Saskatoon and he's on the show with Jamie and I, but I would always bug him about how specific you have to get. So sometimes I would have him be like, hey, who's the fourth string left tackle again? And how good is this guy? When's he going to start?
And he would know.
No, he wouldn't know. He knew I was joking.
He'd make it up.
Anyway, we will have our goof ups and some final thoughts on another fun edition of the program. Here is the Coop with a sports update.
Darnell Nurse and Evander Kane will be missing the start of Oilers training camp due to injury. Nurse has been a part of the informal skates for the team, but is still recovering from some injuries he endured during the playoffs. Yanni Hakanpää has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs on a one-year deal. Hakanpää played for the Ducks, Hurricanes, and most recently suited up for the Stars. He will be paid just under $1.5 million. Staying in the NHL, the Avalanche have invited Pierre-Edouard Bellemare to a professional tryout. The former Av played 40 games and potted 7 points for the Kraken last season. And the Blue Jays dropped their game today against the Mets, winning just 1 of 3 in their series against them. 6-2 was the final score. And in the Major Leagues of Baseball today, so Tigers up 7-1 against the Rockies. 2-1, the Phillies are beating the Rays, while the Nationals are up against the Braves. 3-0. Over in the WNBA, the Vegas Aces are up 39-27 against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. AJ Wilson has 10 points in the game, while Caitlin Clark has 6. Coming up on the Reid Wilkins Show is the final segment of the day, in some goof ups and to talk about, or to recap a little bit about the show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date on Edmonton Sports Talk.
protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
Fuse Sausage makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Get your 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in store at 6736 99th Street, or use the code EST when shopping online at fusesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders over $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuse Sausage. You can't beat our meat.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
At A&W, you can start the morning off right with a regular coffee and an egger of your choice for just $4.99. Bacon and egger or sausage and egger on a seeded bun or an English muffin? The choice is yours. But we know it'll be tasty either way. And to make matters even more delicious, this offer is available all day. But don't snooze on this deal. An egger and a regular coffee for only $4.99 is a limited time price. Available at participating A&W restaurants in Greater Edmonton.
I'm running in circles with the hopes that I will find what I'm searching for, but the question
is where? Oilers rookies in Penticton for the Young Stars tournament. They will play Vancouver Friday night, Calgary Saturday night, the Jets Monday at noon. And then main camp starts next week. And as Tom Gazzola reported earlier, host of the Oil Stream here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, Darnell Nurse and Evander Kane will not be on the ice for the start of training camp. Nurse nursing something that bothered him during the playoffs last season as well, but should be on the ice later on in training camp. And Evander Kane still more question marks about what might happen with his with whatever has been ailing him for a while now. Great to have Drew Remenda on the show. Talked a little bit about the Sharks. Talked a little bit about driving from San Jose to Saskatoon and then back as part of his summer. Interesting. Like I was double checking a map too. It's interesting the layout there. 2 NFL teams there. You've been to that area.
Yeah, I've been to 2 NFL games in my life. They were both Oakland games, if you can believe that.
Okay.
The last time I went was actually with a group of friends of mine. We were at the Golden Bears football annual dinner, and they were auctioning off a trip for 4 to San Francisco. And that was it. That was the parameter of it. You got you got tickets to an Oakland game, 2 nights stay, flights there and back. So it was for 4. So we looked at the valuation of it as it was going through the live auction, and we had a group of 2 other guys that were going to be in. So we said, all right, we're doing this. So we extended our trip a bit. So we caught a bowl game, which was actually Washington State at Utah, but it was played in Levi Stadium where the 49ers play.
Oh, neat. Okay.
So that was in Santa Clara. So we stayed there for a couple nights. I actually got dreadfully sick. Couldn't even stay at the game. Had to get an Uber home or back to the hotel. And it wasn't raw, boozy sick. It was like I ate bad Chinese or something sick.
Right, okay.
So that stunk. But then part of the package was that you'd go up to San Francisco, you'd stay at the Giardelli Square Fairmont, which is probably one of the nicest hotels I've ever been at. So we stayed there. You have the suite and the lavish room, and it was beautiful. There was a wine and cheese hour that we may have taken advantage of a little too aggressively, but I digress. We went to the game, and we decided it was the Oakland Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is probably early Alex Smith, Kansas City. Well, maybe not even.
Okay.
Yeah, probably early. Actually, it was early Patrick Mahomes. That's right.
Oh, he did play.
It was early
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes. So anyways, we go to the tailgate. We're walking around, and we're all wearing Raiders jerseys. We either brought a Raiders jersey or bought a Raiders jersey because you don't want to, be that fan that's not wearing a proper jersey to that game, especially in
that
Oakland.
stadium, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want to screw around. So we were all dressed in black, and Oakland's tailgate at that stadium was fantastic. Like just crazy, row upon row, hundreds of vehicles, cooking, doing all that stuff. So we'd had a couple libations, and I spot a Kansas City jersey, and it was Priest Holmes. It was number 31. So we were following. We kept running into them as we were walking through the tailgate. So I just started yelling, "Priest Holmes sucks!" and the guy was kind of like he knew because he's wearing a Priest Holmes jersey, and I kept doing this, and finally we came like to a head, like we ran into each other, and I said it to his face jokingly, like it was everybody's in a good spirit and laughing, and I said, "Priest Holmes sucks," and the guy he was with was a Raiders fan, jersey and everything, and he says, "You know what, man?" He's like, "I love that you're ribbing him." Turns out it was like his brother-in-law. And he's like, "This is so awesome. I hate that he's wearing his Kansas City jersey. You guys, you're awesome." So we start chatting and talking, and turns out this guy is like some millionaire.
Okay.
Turns out this guy has a private box. Turns out this guy also has field passes. So guess who's his new best friends is yelly guy yelling, "Priest Holmes sucks," and his three buddies. So we get into his private box. That sounded weird. We go to his private box. We get field access passes down to go onto the field for warm up. All you can drink, all you can eat. It was a day to remember for sure. And after the game, the memories kind of faded a bit, but you get the point. It was a great day.
Incredible.
And it was quite a story. Yeah. Never forget it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was. We stayed in touch. He gave me his number. He's like some software guy with tickets and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, was the millionaire the Holmes jersey or the Raiders jersey?
His buddy with the Raiders jersey. That's why he loved us. Oh, and then before the game, if you're a suite holder at the Oakland Coliseum, you can go, because Oakland Coliseum and what was the Oracle, which was where the Golden State Warriors would play, were side by side. So they had this fancy soiree set up for suite holders in the basement of the Oracle. So, he's like, "Yeah, you guys just come with me. I got you. Don't worry." And it just was a fantastic experience. I definitely recommend yelling at people.
Just heckle people randomly.
Just heckle the one standalone. Yeah.
They probably will get you tickets.
They probably have a millionaire.
Improve your seating.
Yeah, a millionaire brother-in-law.
Would have been upper deck. Did you even go to where your seats were?
We didn't even check them out. They were actually not bad seats in hindsight. But, a private box at a Chiefs Raiders game, that's a divisional game. Things were getting heated. It's probably a good thing we weren't in the stands.
And it's interesting you mentioned Golden State. They now play in San Francisco.
Yes,
which was a
in
big
San
deal when they
Francisco.
moved a few years ago. That was a big deal, even because they're called Golden State, which is the nickname or the state name for California.
Golden Gate Bridge,
right? So they
hails from
played-
San Francisco.
Yeah, so they were in Oakland. So they just moved to the other side of the bay, but they're separate cities.
Well, so is where the 49ers play. The
they're not in
49ers
San
do not
Francisco
play anywhere near San Francisco.
Right, they play closer to San Jose. and
It's
Santa
about
Clara.
a 45-minute trek south of the city,
Right.
and that's with no traffic.
Right.
So they play in Santa Clara.
But I thought somebody, I should have checked this, but San Jose, I believe, is bigger than Oakland and San Francisco, population-wise. It's actually the biggest city in the Bay. I thought one of the Sharks broadcasters told me that once.
Wow.
But San Francisco and Oakland are better known because they've had NFL, Major League Baseball, the Golden Seals.
Yeah, and I've been, even Candlestick Park was quite a ways south. The old 49ers stadium was quite a bit south of San Francisco as it sits.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently it was very windy there. Because the Giants played there too, right?
They were both NFC. Yeah, probably would have.
Sorry, the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, the Giants played it. They would have played.
The Giants and 49ers shared Candlestick, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great story. You had not told me that before. We're gonna share a lot of stories with each other.
Sure we will.
It is time for goof ups. I have 3 of mine. Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
I have incorrectly identified Golden Bear football alum Jared Winkle as a quarterback.
The quarterback.
Initially, he was the running back.
You were thinking of Daryl Salmon.
Well, I still should have known because I knew Salmon was the quarterback. Off air, I made sure that Zach knew how to pronounce Hockenpaugh's last name, but I called him Yuri Hockenpauh. His name is Yanni Hockenpauh. He's a pretty good defenseman. He's going to the Leafs, right?
Yeah.
It's a good pickup for them. And I don't know if I did this on or off air, but I called Ty Emberson Joel Emberson for some reason.
Lovely.
I think that was when we were prepping for the show. I was like, yeah, you could ask a question about Joel Emberson.
Were you thinking about Joel Edmondson? Maybe.
Maybe I mixed them up. Yeah,
Zach,
I was probably just distracted and sloppy. So those were my goof ups today.
Well, let's see here. You got the day and the date right. So small victories. I got duped by Castor Raiders. I fell for it. Oh, that's a goof. That is a goof. I wrongly said that Montreal was the home team for the final game of the CFL for the BC Lions. Turns out that is reverse.
Yeah.
And the BC is at home and Montreal's visiting them.
Still, yeah.
They have 4 out of their last 5 are home games. And the most popular one of the day and the one that got the most attention was that tomato is a fruit.
I wouldn't believe it. Well, technically peppers are a fruit then too.
Cucumbers, are they a fruit? Because they're on a vine.
Right? They got a vine, they got a seed.
Right?
Is someone sending us beer emojis in the nasty chat?
Those are thumbs up and waves. Gene's Apprentice, thank you for saying that. We appreciate the kind thoughts. Great chemistry, you too. Great show today, folks, from Spency 5 Centsy and Tommy Gazzola, the wrench in the nasty chat. Good show, boys. We love you guys
Appreciate
too.
that. Well, I do appreciate that people saying that we have good chemistry because really we hardly know each other.
Yes,
so
that is true.
That's the fun part for us. We're still getting rolling.
We haven't even had a beer together. Formally, like, hey, you want to go for a beer after the show?
We had brunch, which I didn't pay for. Luckily, you remembered to pay.
This last one, I got to say,
my goof up.
Burglar in the Paris Jewelers inbox says, Reid. I just caught up on yesterday's show. It's a shame our relationship has had to start off this way. I'm a glass banger. If you're not banging the glass, then you're not bringing the energy and should instead sit in the upper bowl. Brady Martin and I made eye contact twice in one Hlinka Gretzky game, and we're both fired up. We have a real live glass banger, folks.
See, that doesn't upset me, but it might upset other nasties because a lot of people were even stronger on that than I was, I think, yesterday. So I'm fine.
And guess what? I saw Nash Osborne in the nasty chat at the start of the show. He said, you know what? This is the first time I'm getting a chance to listen to it.
Oh.
He's still here at the end of the show. That must be good.
And
he says, great show, boys. Love the new format. First time listening today. Thank you. Thank all of you for listening. Zachary, thank you for being the greatest producer of all time.
Do you have a goof up, though? Did we give him?
Yeah. All my goof ups today. Well, saying Kyler's name wrong.
Hey, you got it.
Yeah, instead of
you said
Taylor. I said Taylor every single time.
It is, yeah. It's fine.
Every single time I said it for some reason. And then this is probably the worst one. I was reading the score of the Jays game.
Yes.
And the set against the Mets that they just lost today. And I thought they were swept. But they weren't. They won the second game, lost the first and the third, so they did win a game and they weren't swept. And I forget who it was in the Paris Jewelers inbox at 780-218-9999 who said, "Hey man, I think you got that wrong."
Potato salad Jesse.
That's a good handle.
That is a great handle.
I like
because this is the last show of the day for EST, we should start signing off as, good night and sleep tight. For you listeners.
We don't want people going to bed at 6:05.
Maybe we do.
Do we have a program after tonight? I didn't bring our schedule because sometimes we do have programming.
Oh, of course.
After.
Yeah, there still is Friends of EST coming up tonight. We'll have to get that program and pin it up in here.
All right. This was fun, everybody. Thanks for checking out the show. Tell your friends. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3. Dusty, of course, kicks off our day at 6 a.m. Thanks to Zach. He's Jay. I'm Reid. See ya.
Analytics. I just don't like when people are like only analytics and only this, and they're like, oh, you can't do that, guy is, and so he's horrible. And I'm like, let's watch the tape and then let's look at those analytics and say why some of that stuff happened before we make our decisions.
Cass is good in the sheets, the Excel spreadsheets.
I was going to say,
like
Cass, what do you think of analytics? By the way, this episode will be called Cassalytics. Hey, I think it's got to be
2 guys and a goalie with Gager, Cassian, and Nielsen. Tuesday and Thursdays at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Come get your game on at The Ranch. The Ranch lets it all hang out with a championship caliber design, premier conditions, and above all, a fun, laid-back experience. Get top-notch service and unmatched value every time you play at The Ranch. Think you have what it takes to go low? The best value for your golfing buck is always The Ranch. The Ranch Golf and Country Club. 10, 50, 100, and 200 round packs on sale. TheRanchGolf.com.
Celebrate the grand opening of Sit and Sleep and discover a revolutionary way to shop for mattresses. Stop in today for a free pressure point scan using cutting-edge technology so sleepologists can identify the perfect mattress for you. Right now, you'll get free local delivery on any mattress over $5.99 and receive a bamboo cooling mattress protector. Get grand opening savings now with every mattress on sale. Join us on location today for the celebrations at Sit and Sleep in South Common next to Planet Fitness.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf. Oh, sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.
Get ready, Edmonton. The moment you've been waiting for is here. It's time to celebrate the best of the best with the Esties as we honor everything from Edmonton Sports Talk's incredible first year. Join us on September 17th at Metro Cinema for an unforgettable night of excitement, laughter, and recognition. Tickets are just $10. Secure your spot by emailing matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. And after the show, let's keep the party going at Hudson's White Ave for the official after party. Mark your calendar, grab your tickets, and get ready to celebrate the best moments of EST. It's the Esties, September 17th.